The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo. What's up, JL?
What up?
You doing all right this morning?
Good morning. Yeah, I am. How are you doing?
Good morning. Doing all right, partner. We going a little Texas today?
We're going a little cowboy today.
We got Craig in the chat this morning with the Grimace Gang and some hogs and logs. I see some boxes. What's up, Craig? And Tommy in the chat said, hope you are feeling dandy. I had way too much candy.
Oh, little rhyme from Tommy in the morning.
Did you eat any candy yesterday, JL?
I had one single Twix bar, and then Maria shamed me because she said there weren't going to be enough for the kids. And so I tried to spit it back out into the wrapper and wrap it back up. But apparently that's not okay.
So was there enough candy for the kids?
There was. There's actually a couple pieces left over.
So really, you could have eaten a couple of pieces of candy.
Yeah,
checkmate, Maria. I know Maria's watching. I'm only saying that trying to get under her skin. What's up, Maria? Good morning. Maria said, good morning, hogs. Welcome in. And she said there's 4 pieces and we closed the door, you butts. They only have 4 pieces left. Jill, I bought a whole bag of candy just like I do every year at my house. And for the 3rd year in a row, we got no trick-or-treaters.
Not a single trick-or-treater.
I'm just holding out hope that one day somebody's going to come. Like, I just think that would be fun. But yeah, nobody's trick-or-treating at my house.
Well, now you got a bag of candy.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. Now I have a whole bag of candy that I have to eat.
Problem. It sounds like a great thing.
Oh, my stomach. It's not going to be happy with me. Like, it's just like this weekend, we also had people over. So we've got all sorts of snacks left. Like there's like cookies and goldfish.
Oh,
and
your
like
house sounds
sandwiches.
So good right now.
Oh, it's a nightmare, but in the best way. It's such a happy nightmare where I have all the snacks I want. And then an hour later, I hate myself.
Did you, was it raining over by your house last night?
No.
We didn't get any trick-or-treaters until like maybe, I don't know, close to 8. But it was like drizzling here. It was raining. So it wasn't the best night for trick-or-treaters. So we did end up getting a late surge. So it wasn't bad.
It wasn't too bad. Also, Craig said you can lick it and put it back, but not full mouth, JL. You can't take a whole Twix out of your mouth and put it back in the wrapper.
Why not?
Because you can only lick it. If it's in your whole mouth, then it belongs to the devil at that point.
The devil?
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, is it week 9 or was it week 8? I can't remember.
Week 8 just finished. We are now
into week 9.
Week 9. Now that week 8 is done on Monday night. NFL weeks end on Monday and I guess start on Tuesday. But guys, it is time, the beginning of week 9, the first day of November for BYOB. Bring your own breakfast. JL and I each brought some topics that we want to talk to you guys about today, that we want to talk to each other about, NFL or non-NFL related. We're going to get them out. We're going to talk about them. And if you guys have anything you want to bring up, hit that call-in button or throw it in the chat. Come on up here with us. Share your topics. JL,
share your topics.
We got to talk about that game last night, first of all. The Cleveland Browns coming in. I thought the Bengals were going to take care of business even without Jamar Chase. But the Browns won 32-13, and I feel like it wasn't as close as the score makes it seem. Like the score makes it seem a little bit closer than it was. The Browns absolutely dominated. Joe Burrow could not stay on his feet, and the Browns were just running the ball at will against this team. I don't know what's going on in the NFL. Whenever I think teams are good, then they come out and they lay a stinker. Whenever I think teams are bad, like the Browns, all of a sudden they show up and I don't know, their defense looked like they had a real defense this week when they haven't looked that way the past couple of weeks. Is this was this just a single game, or do you think we're seeing a better Browns team?
The defense looked fantastic last night. They were just playing lights out. It was really, really impressive game. They were able to stop the Bengals. And I think the biggest thing was the offensive line. The Bengals offensive line is just not really holding up. I think the Browns are decent. We've known they had a decent defense this whole time. I've been surprised that we haven't been seeing them play as well as they have. They kind of feel similar to the Ravens in the sense that like it feels like their defense is much better on paper than we've actually seen them in games recently.
Yeah, I mean, like, but whenever you look at the points scored, like the season started, gave up 24 to the Panthers, 31 to the Jets, 23 to the Falcons, 30 to the Chargers, 38 to the Patriots, 23 to the Ravens. Like, it was rough. Like, this defense just wasn't getting done. But you're right, they looked a hell of a lot better last night. The Cincinnati Bengals seemed like the problem couldn't just be that Chase wasn't on the field, but all of a sudden Chase isn't on the field and this team looks like this. Do you think this offense was missing Chase to the point where it looked this bad, or just?
No, I think this offense has holes in it. Mainly the offensive line. Those 5 big holes in the front, and so I think Jamar Chase gives them a nice little, what do you call it, like security blanket, almost. You know, they're able to transcend that a bit with just incredible wide receiver play, and without Jamar Chase, that makes it that much more difficult to overcome that.
Yeah, I mean, and just look at Joe Mixon's numbers to show just how bad this offensive line has been as well. If the number of sacks that Joe Burrow had isn't enough to convince you, Joe Mixon this year not looking so hot. Last night he had 8 carries for 27 yards, averaging only 3.4 a carry, and that's been the story of the year, right? Like inefficiency for Joe Mixon. He just can't get it done behind this poor offensive line, and we're seeing that continue. If it wasn't for his work in the receiving game yesterday.
Yeah, 9 targets for Joe Mixon, 7 receptions for 32 yards. You're right. He absolutely made it up in the receiving game. PPR, that's 7 points right there.
Exactly. It saved him because from his rushing yards, he only got 2.7 points. Yeah. Nothing else besides that. Brutal. But he did enough to save me in the Guillotine League, JL.
Yes.
I survived.
Yes. Let's go.
Guillotine League was such a roller coaster, JL, because before this week, weeks 6 and 7, I had the number 1 scoring team 2 weeks in a row. Week 6 and 7, I was the top scoring team. And then week 8, I'm on the chopping block. So close to getting knocked out. Hopefully there's better weeks in week 9. I needed a good scare.
Where did I finish this week?
I think number 1. No, maybe not. Are you still number 1?
Let's see. Week 8. I was number 1.
Boom. Look at that.
Let's go. Number 1.
Once you count the person who got kicked off, you and I are bookending the league right now.
Yeah, we are. It's the front yard fantasy bookend.
It's a front yard sandwich.
I like that.
That sounds like
I wanted to follow you, but I had no idea where you're going with it.
Front yard sandwich.
I had, let's see, I had Christian McCaffrey, Antonio Gibson, Kyler Murray, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore. It was a good week. This is a really good week.
Yeah. I remember looking at your team being like, even the bad players scored 15 points. Like even the players that didn't perform well.
My worst scoring player was Pat Freiermuth at 9.7, which is fine. And Chris Olave at 10.2, which is fine.
You're fine. You're fine with that. That was better than some of my best players. Josh Jacobs got me like 7 points.
Yeah, that hurts.
Stinky. Tommy in here saying Burrow has been getting crushed this year. Absolutely demolished. I wonder if he leads the league. By the skin of my head. I wonder if Joe Burrow leads the league in sacks right now. Do you think he does? No. Do you know who does lead the league in sacks, JL?
Yes, I do. The person who leads the league in sacks is
and this is number of times sacked, not like
Daniel Jones.
The defensive side. Daniel Jones is 3rd behind Joe Burrow at 25.
Who is it? Who's number 1?
Justin Fields with 31. So Justin Fields is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. Joe Burrow 2nd with 29. Daniel Jones 3rd with 25.
Okay.
But Joe Burrow's up there. I'm honestly a little bit shocked that Joe Burrow's not number 1. Like, I know Fields has been sacked a lot, but man, every time I watch a Bengals game, it feels like Burrow's just on his ass.
Burrow said the offensive line has been okay at times. It's been okay at times, but it just hasn't been consistent. They're not good enough, I think.
Also, yesterday, we're talking a lot about the line, and of course that played a big part, but the Bengals secondary yesterday looked like absolute garbage in the first half. And then the players started dropping, like injury after injury after injury. Player gets injured, out for the game. Player gets injured, out for the game. Like, that explains the second half. That explains their secondary in the second half. I don't know what was going on. Jacoby Brissett was beating them through the air throughout this game, and I don't think they expected that.
Dude,
But
Jacoby Brissett, he's
Hog.
the real deal. Hog. Jacoby Sabret.
Jacoby Jabret.
I can't not hear his name and not like immediately go to that video every time, Simon.
Yeah, you've ruined his name for me every time it comes on the broadcast
100%.
now as well. I know it was me saying it, but you put the video together.
I did.
Now every time they say Jacoby Brissett, I'm like, Jacoby Jabret.
I had to listen to that so many times while editing it. It's just hours of you listening to you saying Jacoby Brissett.
That's your own fault. I don't even feel a little bit sorry for you. Like, not even for what you had. No one asked you to make that video.
Well, I thought you were my friend.
Yeah, but I didn't ask you to make that video. No one was like, "Hey, Joe, edit together hours of footage of Simon saying Jacoby Brissett's name."
Even if it's your friend's fault, you don't feel bad for your friend. That's messed up.
Tommy wants to know a front yard sandwich. What would that be made of? Jill, what would a front yard sandwich be made of?
Drywall.
As the bread or as the filling?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Drywall. And you can paint it however you want. It's a choose your own sandwich.
Mm-hmm. You hang stuff on your sandwich.
And then you hang stuff on your sandwich.
Maria said bread.
No, absolutely not. There is no bread in a front yard sandwich. That would just make it a front yard sandwich.
Oh.
But drywall is what makes it a sandwich.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
It was fun to watch in the first half. Like, I had fun watching this game for most of the game. By the end, I got a little like, okay, let's wrap this up, boys. Like it's getting late. The Browns won. We get it.
Your Browns won. Are you excited at all for this Browns team, or do you think you got a shot for playoff berth? What does that mean? I mean, what does playoff berth mean?
Well, it's
playoff girth.
It's when playoff girth, I think, is the word you're looking for, JL. Yeah. So I don't know if the Browns are going to be fighting for a playoff girth. It's a little bit hard to come back from starting 3-5, right? They started 2-5. They won this game. They're 3-5. It's not going to be
3-5 is not the worst. You can come back,
but it depends on your division, right? Like 3-5 sitting down there against the Falcons, Buccaneers, Panthers, and Saints would be looking a hell of a lot better than against the Ravens sitting at 5-3 with Lamar Jackson and an improving defense. I don't think the Browns are going to be fighting for one of these wild card spots. I don't think their record's going to be good enough. And I think it's going to be really difficult for them to win this division without the Ravens just absolutely dropping the ball. So they may put together a good end of the season. This defense may look all right, but I don't think this isn't the year for the Browns.
Maria said playoff berth. Maria said chef's kiss. 3-5 and straight vibing. And Tommy said, made with a dash of fantasy advice, 2 shakes of a peach, and a full slab of hog.
Vegan hog, though. No hogs were harmed in the making of this hog.
No, they were not.
Of this
plant-based
sandwich.
hog.
Craig said playoff berth. I'm going to read this one before I say it out loud. He said, when an adult male playoff and an adult female playoff like each other very much, sometimes they decide to have a fun wrestling match.
Fun wrestling.
Does that explain it, JL? And then the end result is we get a playoff berth.
And then we get a playoff berth. That makes so much sense.
Now I'm imagining like adding the extra teams in the playoffs was like an accidental pregnancy by the playoffs. They're like, oh shit, we got pregnant. Now we got another round of the playoffs.
Add some more teams.
What are we going to do? Okay, well, I guess these guys can share a room. Only one team gets a bye now. Only one team gets their own bye.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Seed, sorry, you're going to have to share a room with the 7 seed. I know. We just weren't expecting this, baby.
We're going to make it work. This is a blessing.
Craig's saying, you get it, Simon. Exactly. We're on the same page. I see Joey right in the YouTube chat. What's up, Joey? Go Browns.
What up, Joey?
Yeah, at least last night. At least for a couple more weeks. Go Browns.
Go Browns. Speaking of the Ravens, Simon, you brought up the Ravens. Big news yesterday. Roquan Smith. I don't know why I said it all weird. Roquan Smith was traded to the Ravens from the Chicago Bears for a 2nd and a 5th, along with, we got here from Josina Anderson, along with A.J. Klein, linebacker A.J. Klein from the Ravens. This is a win now move.
Yeah, 100%. Trading away future picks for a stud defensive player at a position of need. It's scary. See, like this is what I'm talking about, JL. Browns aren't making the playoffs. The Ravens aren't dropping games. This defense was already improving, and then now they're going to add Roquan Smith. It makes sense. I'm excited for them. I love watching teams make moves like this right before the deadline.
Yeah, they got Patrick Queen, who's 23. Roquan Smith is 25. Kyle Hamilton's 17. This defense is insanely talented, insanely young. I'd be curious to hear, whose thoughts I'd be curious to hear is Craig's thoughts in the chat, Mr. IDP, what this means to this Ravens defense. But I mean, this puts the Ravens, as far as I'm concerned, this puts them in the running for a AFC run. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't know if they're the favorite to win the AFC, but
probably not. Probably not over the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, they're definitely up there in contention. Yeah, on the FanDuel Sportsbook right now, JL, they're the team with the third highest odds. I'm curious if it was that way already yesterday, or before the trade. Bills first, Chiefs second, Ravens third. So they're right there in that conversation.
Oh yeah, Bills are in our conference.
Yeah, just a buzzsaw. That's gonna be fun to have to get past. But the best part about the NFL, it's not the nonsense 7-game series where the best team usually wins. It's just one game of football.
It's just a single elimination.
Elimination game. I understand that's not the result for getting the best team, but
it's
the best
result for the best chaos.
It's the most fun. It is definitely the most fun to have single elimination just over and over again.
Yeah. A lot of people were concerned the Ravens gave up a lot. Roquan Smith this is his last deal. So if I understand this correctly, Chicago Bears are fronting his salary for this year, but then the Ravens have to still negotiate a deal for him going forward. So a lot of people were saying that this was too much to give up, a second and a fifth, along with AJ Klein for a half-season rental, essentially. What are your thoughts on that?
It's half-season rental with the first rights to sign him to a deal. Know what I mean? They're going to try to get a deal done before this year's up. They've got what, 6 months to get a deal done before he hits free agency, and that's probably going to be their focus.
They still have Lamar. Keep in mind, they have not re-signed Lamar to a long-term deal.
Well, and I kind of expect them to franchise tag Lamar, or at least save that in their back pocket. So, know what I mean? I don't think they're going to be looking to burn their franchise tag on Roquan Smith. Them making this move, giving up a second and fifth, shows me that it's sometime in the next 6 months they're dedicated to getting a longer-term deal done with him before free agency hits. Because I don't know, that would be risky without a long-term deal set on your franchise quarterback to use that franchise tag on someone else. They just can't do it. You gotta save it in your back pocket in case they can't get something done with Lamar. I think they'll sign him, and I'm fine with this move. And even if it was a 6-month rental, know what I mean? Let's just bring him in here. I know it's a lot to give up, but they're going for it. They're going for it. I don't. They're going for it
like that. I know you're more of a if you got a shot, you got to go for it type of guy. So I kind of knew you were going to take that line, and I, to be frank, I wanted that because I needed a little bit of hype from someone else to know yeah, this is a win now move.
Not everyone likes to play like that. I understand that. Not everyone. Some people see those moves and they're like, no, you're going to ruin your future for the next 5 years.
I'm like that.
Who cares? This year's what you're
am
playing.
That person.
Right now. Don't worry about the consequences.
I just like math too much.
I like math too, JL, but sometimes it's fun to fight the numbers.
Craig said it helps their linebackers a ton. They had been using it hodgepodge because Patrick Queen hasn't been that guy yet. I think it does lower Roquan's IDP value a bit, but he's still easily in the top 5 for linebackers, I would say. And then he asked, why is it always back pocket? I prefer front pockets. Valid question. I don't know the answer.
I don't know if I have a preference. For specific things, I have a preference.
But wallet. Is it front or back? Back. I can't have it on the back. It's too weird for me. What about keys?
Front pocket.
Front pocket. Everything's front pocket. I don't put anything in my back pocket unless
if someone hands me a brochure while I'm walking in a city or on a campus or something, that goes in the back pocket unless there's a trash can nearby. Fold it.
In which case it goes in the recycling bin. Yeah.
I have no shame with that. If someone hands me a brochure and I'm right next to a trash can, I will just immediately put it in there in front of them. I don't want to carry it.
And also, find better marketing techniques. What is this, 1965?
Jill, did you ever get approached by the guys
Yes.
on campus that
Yes.
said they were Buddhist monks?
Yes, I knew
Well-
exactly what you were going to say, and yes, I 100% knew exactly who you were talking about immediately, Simon, because they just walk around campus with their like pseudo enlightened Bible. It wasn't a Bible, it was something else.
Well, and these were like
My roommate got one.
22-year-old white guys walking around campus as Buddhist, like from like New Hampshire, walking around campus as Buddhist monks, and they would hand you a book, act like it was free, and then they'd be like, if you could
That's
spare any
$5.
donation, like
Yeah.
any donation of $15 or more
Yeah.
would let you keep this book. Like they were just selling their books on campus and pretending to be enlightened, but they tricked me the first time. The first time I didn't buy
You got
it.
a donation?
I didn't buy it, but he handed it to me, and like I was like buying into him, like I was listening to him, hearing him out. And about 5 minutes in, I was like, "This is baloney." And he tried to get a donation from me. I have the book somewhere. I didn't give him a donation, but I did keep the book.
Nice.
So, so I have
Free
the book somewhere
book.
now. Free book, free book. Also, Keith said in New York we used to have rappers give out CDs.
Oh, that's
Same in
way
it-
better though. At least you get music out of it.
In downtown Atlanta, anytime someone's handing out CDs, I take it and throw it in my CD player because 90% of the time it's the worst thing you've ever heard. But there's been 1 or 2 CDs I've been handed off the street in my life where that shit was fire. Like it was just like this dude, random dude on the street in downtown Atlanta,
Like,
just
made a
handing out like,
masterpiece.
oh my God, just
That's
beautiful.
happened to me a few times too.
I'm like, what the hell? What was this dude doing like at the MARTA station handing out CDs when he's unbelievably talented? But you gotta wade through the crap to get to it though. Ernie wants to know, can you lick the CD and give it back? Yeah, what's the
100%.
etiquette on that?
100%, you can lick the CD and give it back. Actually, it's preferred in many countries.
JL, I wanted to bring something up that happened yesterday that was a little spicy towards the NFL. I don't know if you saw, but Pat McAfee yesterday was told by the NFL that 9 weeks into the season, after paying over $4 million for a licensing right to use their video footage on his show, 9 weeks into the season, they told him he can no longer use the NFL logos in their show. No more using the logos. They picked that fight. And Pat was a little bit unhappy about it. I'm not going to go through the whole rant, but I do want to read a part of it to you. After he went on explaining what happened, he said, "It's been great doing business with you. I'm happy we have covered your league in the way that we have for the last few years. I'm appreciative of the league and everything it's done. I don't think we've really touched on many subjects we could have dabbled into, and I think we'll do that this offseason for sure. Things I know a lot about, my friends know a lot about, like insurance and CTE and concussions and everything like that. I think we can find some people to chat
like
about,
that.
to learn more about what the NFL should be held accountable for."
Dude, I love Pat McAfee.
Pat.
I absolutely love Pat McAfee. Is that kind of like just pettiness though that like I really just see in myself and I respect the hell out of?
I feel like Pat, regardless of if it's like positive or negative, he can't help it. He goes petty, but this time it's for the greater good.
Yeah.
Like this is petty for the greater good. This is stick it to the man. Oh, you want to fight? Let's fight. And I'm here for it.
He's
Like,
got the leverage to do it too, you know, like
not many people do. Not many
No.
people can stand up. to
NFL
that
tells us to
platform.
stop using their logo. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Daddy NFL.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
so sorry.
yes, Papa. They go to Pat McAfee, boom, balls on the table.
Whoa. That was the sound they made.
I don't know why. I just expected it to be a little bit more behind it, and when it didn't come, it just got me.
It's like squishy. There's like a little bit of like,
It's like,
a whoop. Yeah, that's exactly
It's
the
almost-
sound it makes.
Almost like it's surprised.
Whoop.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Get
my bad.
back in there.
Oh,
Off the table.
oh.
No, but Pat's balls are right on the table, and he's telling the NFL to come and have some dinner, is what it sounds like. Like come and eat
Ew.
these, NFL. Now I think. Do you think they come to some sort of agreement, JL? Like a different licensing agreement where he pays another $2 million, and he's allowed to use their logos, or do you think he goes nuclear on them this offseason and talks about all the stuff the NFL doesn't want him talking about?
Is very, very touchy about their IP, their intellectual property. I guess it's not IP, it's copyright material, but they're very finicky about that. So I could see them just digging their heels in and ultimately not going to matter. Even if he goes off, starts talking about CTE, like I feel like the league doesn't really care. Now, if they got someone smart there, a good marketer, smart marketer, then they'll use. If they have a smart marketer there, then they'll use this opportunity for good. They'll be able to turn this into a positive experience.
I think he's just going to try to get a nuclear. I think there will be news about it, but you're right, Chael. The NFL is like borderline untouchable.
Right.
Like it's not going to make any actual impact on them besides some bad press. And the NFL's no stranger to bad press. There's hardly any good press about the league. They try so hard to get it out there, but it's not a well-run league. Not great, Bob. And Tommy says he doesn't need to show their logos. If you guys have not seen the logos that he drew up, they are absolutely incredible. They've got like Myles Garrett in a 3-point stance, but it looks like he's just like full face down, ass up on the ground instead of it looking like an actual 3-point stance drawn in stick figures. It's phenomenal.
That's hilarious.
Tommy agreeing, saying they are awesome.
Yeah, I want to see him just go absolutely off on the NFL. We'll see. See if he does. I wanted to hit some of these injuries days we got yesterday. I think it makes sense we just go through it on a one fell swoop.
Let's do it.
So Gus Edwards, he's day-to-day with a mild hamstring injury, Coach Harbaugh said yesterday. Got to keep an eye on that Kenyon Drake season, Simon.
I mean, if Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins are both out, then you can start them. You might get 7 PPR points anyways, but he could also have a big game. Like, it's just the running back isn't necessary for this Ravens offense to perform well. They don't need to give him 20 carries, right? Kenyon Drake could be the lead back and could get 9-10 carries. The Ravens can still win, and he doesn't do shoot for fantasy.
He doesn't do shoot. Cooper Kupp, latest on Cooper Kupp is he is expected to be day-to-day with an ankle sprain. Sean McVay says he expects Cooper Kupp to play on Sunday against Tampa Bay. There was some tissue swelling, but no structural damage is the latest on Cooper Kupp's injury, which is good. How scary seeing him come off and all those reports afterwards of him limping around.
Yeah, I mean, terrifying whenever we see a player go down like that, especially one of Cooper Kupp's caliber for fantasy. That would have been Cooper Kupp's caliber. Cooper Kupp's caliber. Caliber's Halloween Town 2. Calabar's Revenge.
Oh, you were there like a half a second before I was. I like heard it. I was like, I know that sound. What is that sound?
Yeah, we just kept saying it. I was like,
Caliber.
The best of the Halloween Town movies.
Calabar's Revenge.
The best. That movie is one of my favorite moments ever. Whenever the trash guy gets turned gray and he cleans his house, I love it so much. He's like, oh no.
When I was in Hawaii, Maria, her sister, and I were just like, I just ended up going down a Halloween Town hole and just really like deep researching the plot and everything, and just looking at all the plot holes. That it's not the most well written movie, it turns out. But
I'm not watching it for how well written.
No, neither am I. Still love it. It's
just a fun movie.
So Cooper Kupp should be good to go. We got a slew of Ravens injuries here, at least 2. So Mark Andrews, it looks like, according to Jameson Henley on Twitter, still looks like Ravens tight end Mark Andrews avoided a major injury. Coach Harbaugh said Andrews is dealing with shoulder and ankle injuries. So Isaiah Likely, probably worth a pickup if this is going to be a lingering thing for Mark Andrews going forward. It is really difficult to tell with something like this without more information. But right now, we just got to keep an eye on it.
Keep an eye on it. Have a backup plan ready.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be Isaiah Likely. Just have someone ready.
Have someone ready. Yeah. And then Rashad Bateman is going to be out with a few weeks with a foot injury. It looks like they were some sort of tweak during the game or further injury on Rashad Bateman, which is unfortunate. And Jonathan Taylor is the last one I saw. Jonathan, he did have an ankle twist, but it looks like he'll be fine for now. So,
well, thank goodness. Yeah. Some good news, some bad news, but overall, mostly decent news for some of these players. Decent, not too bad. Bill, I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday, this came from Aaron Ladd. Chiefs Andy Reid was asked what his favorite Halloween candy was, and he said, seems like every time I walk past Mr. Goodbar, he calls me and says, Andy, come eat me.
I love Andy Reid, man. I love him so much. Come eat me.
Like they just asked what's your favorite candy, and he personified a candy bar into like begging him to eat him instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, Mr. Goodbar." Also, can we talk about Mr. Goodbar being his favorite candy?
Yeah, that's a weird one to pick.
Like he's looking in the candy aisle. Like not once have I thought, yeah, let me grab the Mr. Goodbar. I can't even tell you what's in a Mr. Goodbar.
I don't know that I've had one in like 15 years.
I don't know if I've ever had one. What is a Mr. Goodbar? Peanuts. Okay, peanuts and chocolate. It's just peanuts and chocolate. It's chocolate with peanuts in it.
Okay,
that sounds about right for Andy Reid. He's gonna get some peanuts in his stash.
Greg said, "If my food said that to me, I would be scared. Why are there no Mrs. Goodbars?"
It's the Bachelor life.
Both very valid points. It's Bachelor life. Mr. Goodbar.
Mr. Goodbar.
Single and ready to mingle.
What's Mr. Goodbar's first name, JL?
Phil.
Phil Goodbar.
Phil Goodbar. Phil Goodbar.
You'll pass me the Phil. He goes through a midlife crisis and starts going by Phil just on the wrapper. Instead of it saying Mr. Goodbar, the rappers just start saying Phil. On Oh my God, that would be incredible. JL, I did have to bring up one more thing. We talked about it yesterday, but I keep going back and watching it over and over and over again. The Peach to Deej pass that should have been the game when he passed. Let's ignore everything that happened afterwards. I don't want to talk about the results of that game because that's all anyone's talking about. It's ruining what was maybe like, I want you to go back and watch this, JL, and tell me if I'm being hyperbolic because I don't think one of the greatest passes I've ever seen. Like this ball went over 60 yards in the air while he was rolling out to his left, being chased by defenders and hit DJ Moore in double coverage perfectly in the end zone as time expired. Or at the end of the game, not quite as time expired, but like the pass with the situation, it was just absolutely gorgeous. I was trying to read about it yesterday and I saw in the era where they've tracked next gen stats, it is the pass that has gone the longest in the air, period, and been caught. I'm going to fact check that, but I didn't I think I glossed over the absurdity of this throw.
He throws it from his own 35-yard line.
His own 35-yard line hits him in the end zone.
More in the end zone, perfectly in stride, just out of double coverage. These two guys trailing behind DJ Moore, and it is just perfectly placed to be right where DJ Moore needs it.
Peach drops back. Lets it fly, drops it in the bucket to Deej. Peach to Deej.
Peach to Deej.
That call from Tommy. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there, but it's absurd, right? I've watched it 100 times. I keep going back and watching. I'm like, this is one of the greatest just single passes, one throw that I've ever watched completed. It was unbelievable.
Incredible. I saw it live, but I didn't really go back and watch it like that. That's truly incredible. Truly incredible throw and catch. Keith said they named PJ Walker the starter. Is that true?
They did. Yeah. Baker Mayfield is now officially the backup, even though he's active. PJ Walker is the starter.
Good for him. Good for
I feel like I've been wanting this storyline for 2 years now. Since he blew up the XFL, got the backup, I've been let's get Peach in there. And it's been tongue in cheek, but dude is playing all right. Playing better than Baker was.
Yeah. Playing better. He's playing incredibly right now. It's insane.
Though I would have liked to see some post Matt Rule Baker. Know what I mean? See if it was a little better. This team looks like a different team without Matt Rule. I would have liked to see it, but I'm not one to argue against the Peach.
Yeah, argue against the Peach. I see Trenton in here said, "Hey boys, what up, Trenton? Welcome in." And ask, is this bias? Is that a Moore jersey on the wall beside Cooper?
No, I have said nothing about the catch from DJ Moore. I'm talking about the throw.
I mean, really, Walker. Yeah, I don't even know that DJ Moore, it was incredible play for him, but he also had to do the least amount of work compared to between the two of them.
7 yards down the field in the air to get it to him. DJ Moore just landed right in his bucket. He got it.
And also, that's a David Moore jersey, number 12.
It's actually a Michael Moore jersey. In number 12. He's on the Panthers now.
God, so much Michael Moore talk this week.
Joey said Montana to Rice, Brady to Moss, Peach to D.
Peach to D.
Yeah, put it down. Trent said, I'll play. And that was a sweet pass. I read that as that was a sweet peas first. I thought you were coming and calling me sweet pea, Trenton. It's like, we can go by sweet pea, Trenton. That works.
Now, PJ Walker is playing amazingly. What does DJ Moore rest of season for you, Simon?
High-end wide receiver 2.
Really? Did
with wide receiver
immediately elevated back up?
I think so. This offense looks different. And that's why he's not a wide receiver 1. With the volume that he gets, like past years, like DJ Moore should be a top 10 guy. I'm not willing to put him there. This offense isn't quite good enough. I don't have that trust. But wide receiver 15, know what I mean? Like that seems well within his range of outcomes.
Yeah. Another news, Brandon Cooks, he was hinting at a trade. Essentially, he went out and tweeted, "I played my part and never took it to heart," with the arrow, bow and arrow emoji. So being a little bit cryptic there. Brandon Cooks, I played my part and never took it to heart.
That CD Carter tweet stays undefeated.
I know.
Undefeated. It's every year.
That he's too good with that. And it just gets a bajillion likes every time because it's so accurate.
Yeah, what a wide receiver tweet. I played my part and never took it to heart.
I played my part, never took it to heart. And then
he gone.
Yesterday, the Texans will reportedly only listen to offers that include a second-round pick for Brand. Potential destinations from Dov Kleiman. I don't know how to say his name. Potential destinations for Cooks are the Giants, Rams, and Vikings per Schefter. Rams, Giants, Vikings. Brandon Cooks to the Giants feels so accurate. It feels like they're gonna trade a lot to get
don't
Brandon
do
Cooks.
that to my Wandale.
They're gonna do it.
Don't do that. I love Wandale Robinson. That would just ruin his value rest of season, wouldn't it?
They're gonna do it. Maybe Packers. You think Packers might trade for Cooks?
I think the Packers might close the franchise down if things don't start getting better instead of trading. There. I mean, Brandon Cooks feels like he's a good wide receiver, but I feel like it's not what Aaron Rodgers wants, right? Aaron Rodgers wants them to like draft a first-round wide receiver or sign an A.J. Brown or don't let a Devontae Adams walk or something like that.
Or something like that, yeah.
Joey says Cook to L.A. Everyone loves a homecoming. Yeah, I would love to see Brandon Cooks in L.A. I think that's my preferred destination as well.
L.A., yeah, been there, done that. And then Trent said, let PJ cook.
Did you say been there, done that?
Yeah.
Like you've already seen him in LA. You're bored of Brandon Cooks.
I want something new. I want something new for Cooks.
Most players don't have the career trajectory that Cooks has. But now that you've seen him on different teams, you just want to keep seeing him on different teams.
That's I want to keep leaning into it. I don't want him on one team for too long.
He's ruined it. Like now you're like, yeah, I can't see you you've been on the Texans too long, my man.
Yeah,
can't go to the Rams.
On, buddy.
It's like the Ryan Fitzpatrick of wide receivers.
Exactly.
We had a question come in here from Nick Perrone, JL. Thought we could help him out. Start, sit, cut.
Nick.
Justin Fields, Jimmy G, and Jared Goff rest of season. Start, sit, cut, JL. What are you doing?
Sorry, say the names one more time.
Justin Fields, Jimmy G, and Jared Goff.
Ooh, that's interesting. I think I'm going to cut Jared Goff. I'm going to sit Justin Fields, and I'm going to start Jimmy G.
And I'm going to start Justin Fields. He's currently the highest scoring out of all of these guys after the past couple weeks. He's QB 16 on the year. We've got Jared Goff at QB 17, Jimmy Garoppolo down at QB 21. Now, some of these guys have had their bye. Like Jared Goff is beating Justin Fields on a point per game basis, as is Jimmy Garoppolo.
You know what? I'm probably going to sit Jimmy Garoppolo this week because he's on a bye.
Bye-pocalypse. We got a lot of buys this week.
Yeah, we do. But do you have all those teams up?
I can pull them up in a second. I'm starting Justin Fields. I'm sitting Jared Goff, and I'm cutting Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm just bored. I don't want to start Jimmy Garoppolo in my lineup.
That's fair. I'm just hoping that this CMC unlocks something for Jimmy Garoppolo here.
Hey, Joe, here are the bye week teams. We've got the Cleveland Browns, the Dallas Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the New York Giants, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the San Francisco 49ers.
That's a lot of teams. Six
teams on bye this week. It's going to be brutal.
Yeah, a little later in the show, we're going to go over some waiver wire targets so that hopefully that helps with some of these bye weeks. If you need somebody to fill in, that'll be around 9 o'clock or so.
around 9 o'clock. Hit some more waiver wire. Yeah, I'm just looking at that team and realizing how screwed some of my fantasy teams are with these teams on bye. Just absolutely screwed. Also, Trent in here said, Cooks, yo, Tampa ain't it? Wants Cooks to Tampa Bay.
That would be so wild. I would want that just for the chaos. Just
no
for
offensive line.
Lose it.
4 great receivers. Like, let's see what we can do with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin,
and
Julio Jones, and Brandon Cooks, with Tom Brady under center with half an offensive line.
That would be so wacky. I want to see it. I want to see it just for the chaos.
I feel like the result would either be sacked or a touchdown. Like that's what it would be. Tom Brady goes down or Tom Brady scores.
His like air yards are just insanely high.
Yeah, each game he sacks 7 times and throws for 400 yards, like Trenton said. Every game he's hitting both.
Average depth of targets like 80.
Average, yeah, PJ Walker numbers, but on every single pass. Guys, coming up, we are going to talk some fact or flash, going over players that flashed this week and whether we think it's for real or if it was just a flash in the pan. We have a new game coming up as well that we're calling Made Up Quotes. We'll tell you a little bit more about it whenever we get to it. We're going to go through our division predictions, lay out some playoff predictions for you today. And then like JL mentioned, we're going to talk through the waiver wire for you guys a little bit later today as well. For right now, you are listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Better Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, he's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry. Okay, talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach, makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball's starting to bring up.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, in the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at, like, Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know again, it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you want to know why they're paranoid? They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right,
yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful? You know,
it's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to my team.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are about to talk some fact or flash, players that showed up this week, and we're going to determine whether or not this is fact. We're going to keep on seeing more out of them, or this is flash, just a flash in the pan. Don't expect it coming up anymore. Sorry, that was such a loud don't, JL. Man, and you're really loud right now, too. So loud that it's not even coming through. You would think one day you would learn.
Through. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't think that. You really wouldn't.
It's like my girlfriend and I have been playing SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated on the Nintendo Switch, right?
Yeah.
And we have very different strategies. Like if I mess up on a level and I'm going to stand back and I'm going to analyze and I'm going to look like, okay, what's the next move? It's not going to be what I just did. I'm going to do the next thing. And she runs in guns a-blazing every time. We both get to the end of the levels. But she's like, I'm not learning from that. I'm trying the same thing over and over and over again. And it's going to work eventually.
Every time.
And it does. Tommy in here was saying Cooks would look good as a Raven as well. JL, would you mind Brandon Cooks on the Ravens?
No, because just like the Giants, it's such a Ravens move, and I hate it. I hate that pick so much. But I don't think they'll give that much up for Brandon Cooks, but who knows?
Just trade away a second for
just
Roquan
trade away a
well,
second.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to give up a second also for Brandon Cooks, but they did lose Rashad Bateman for a couple weeks.
Was the report that they're only accepting offers that include a second, or that they have offers that include a second?
Accepting. It was one of those nobody's talking about this. Let me put out a story so that everybody knows this is what I want type of deals.
I see. The reason I asked is I bet he goes if he's traded, I bet it's for less than a second. They're just saying that. They're just saying that. Teams say that kind of stuff all the time. I bet we could see a Brandon Cooks deal done that doesn't involve a second round pick. What do you think, JL?
Right. No, you're probably right. It's typically like that's like asking price. Then they'll probably negotiate down. We'll see. See if something comes of it.
We'll see. Okay, let's get into some fact or flash, JL. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Let's start with our first player. First player I wanted to talk about was Mr. D'Onta Foreman. D'Onta Foreman showed up this week. Christian McCaffrey, as we know, traded. Chuba Hubbard was out injured. And D'Onta Foreman, the number 5 half PPR running back on the week this week. Number 5 in PPR as well. He scored 31.8 PPR fantasy points. Jail 118 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, and added a 2-point conversion just for good measure in there. Fact or flash, Jail, is what we saw from D'Onta Foreman this weekend. Fact or flash?
It is fact. It is fact. As long as Chuba Hubbard stays injured, stays not a major factor on this offense, I think it's fact. We've seen it now 2 weeks in a row. Now, of course, he's not going to get the 3 touchdowns that we saw this week. So we're not going to see 31.8 points every week. But I think he's an RB2 while Chuba Hubbard is out, and the Panthers are feeding him so much. 15 carries 2 weeks ago, 26 carries this week. That's the kind of usage you want.
He was a lot better this week with his 24 carries than he was the previous week with his 15 carries, though, right? If I remember correctly, he wasn't nearly as efficient. Yeah, that previous week, no, he was just as efficient.
Way more.
He was way more efficient.
Yeah, 7.87 yards per carry 2 weeks ago, 4.54 this past week. Both decent.
Yeah, since CMC's been traded, he's been great. Dale,
54% of snaps 2 weeks ago, 68% of snaps this week. You got to keep an eye on that, and you got to keep an eye on Chuba Hubbard because that'll limit his upside absolutely.
Yeah, but it looks like D'Onta Foreman's going to be the main guy in a committee whenever Chuba Hubbard's back, and the main guy while he's gone. This is fact. You can plug him in each day. Don't expect top 5 running back numbers from him, like JL said, but top 24, yeah, I think that's pretty fair to expect from a guy who's the lead back for his team.
Yeah.
And Trenton in here saying Chuba will be the 2-minute drill guy, just coming in for the 2-minute drills. I can see that.
Yeah.
Maybe a slightly bigger role than just the 2-minute drill guy. JL, the next guy I wanted to talk about, so far on the year, he's been overall disappointing. But this week he had a big game. We've talked about him a little bit already, but that is wide receiver DJ Moore for the Carolina Panthers. Through 8 weeks, where is he after week 8? Through 7 weeks, he was the wide receiver 40 in PPR. Through 8 weeks, he has jumped all the way up to the wide receiver 25 with that one big performance. But this week, he was the wide receiver 5, scoring 27.5 points, had that amazing play at the end of the game, 152 receiving yards, and 1 receiving touchdown, 6
And
receptions.
he lost the game for the Panthers with his extraneous celebration.
How dare he? Did you see the I think it was Tony Dungy who tweeted out asking because the call was that he took his helmet off on the field, right? And Tony Dungy quoted the rule book saying they can take their helmet off or they can't take their helmet off on the field of play. And then showed the clip where he's out of the back of the end zone whenever he takes his helmet off, and said that the NBC rules expert says that it should not have been an excessive celebration penalty since he removed his helmet after leaving the field of play.
Really?
So I saw some contradicting opinions on it, but Tony Dungy reached out to NFL officiating, but then the NBC rules expert, the person they've got on staff who is the expert on NFL rules, said that should not have
or something.
Yeah, probably should not have been a penalty because he was off the field of play by the time he removed his helmet.
That's wild. We should try and get a rules expert in here to tell us.
I know. I'm curious. I'm so invested in this Peach to Deej play because that was also the most absurd ending to a game I've ever seen.
Yeah,
But
that was insane.
DJ Moore, JL, fact or flash?
DJ Moore is fact. He's absolutely fact. He's commanding the targets just in the last, this is the last 5 weeks. 11 targets, 8 targets, 7 targets, 10 targets, 11 targets. That's insanely high. That's insanely high number of targets. They just haven't been there. The offense hasn't been good enough for DJ Moore those targets into fantasy production. But with PJ Walker there, it seems like they have a really good connection. This offense is moving a bit. I'm totally in on DJ Moore rest of the season. Fact.
I'm fact as well. Fact, high-end wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside. He can be a wide receiver 1 on any given week. Just I'm not trusting this Panthers offense and to support a true wide receiver 1 rest of the year after what we saw the first 7 weeks.
Yeah.
I know it's been great, or first 6 weeks, I should say. I know it's been great recently, but I'm going to cool the Jets a little bit and not call them top 10. But that still makes him fact. Trenton has DJ Moore for Elijah Moore. Keep DJ Moore.
No.
What about in
no,
Dynasty,
no.
JL? Are you making that move?
No.
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 No. Stop asking that. No. Elijah Moore, he is not he's been a massive disappointment, man. There's a chance that this is a huge hit to his career. Yeah, I mean the range of outcomes for both of these guys are in completely different realms. Oh, okay. So Trenton asking in NFL trade deadline. I'm speaking in terms of fantasy. In NFL, also no.
I guess it's less absurd in NFL,
Yeah.
but I still don't see it happening.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, they might make a move like that for cap space reasons, but I wouldn't see why they would do that.
Jill, do you think 1,104 is still on the table for DJ Moore? His stereotypical stat line, he's currently at 425 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think he's going to get more than 4 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, for sure. He's already got 3. That's
Man,
amazing.
we say that, Jill. Do not say finally yet. That is so jinxing it. We got to be careful not to jinx this. He's going to get. I'm going to go out on a limb and say a whole 5 touchdowns is what DJ Moore is going to have at the end of the year. Mark wants to know, should I trade Jonathan Taylor for ETN? JL, are you trading JT for Travis Etienne?
No, I can't do that.
No. I'm with you.
I love ETN, but I can't trade Jonathan Taylor for ETN. And I don't love 1-for-1 position trades like that. I just stick with your guy.
Even with the injury?
Side you're on. Even with the injury, yep. Well, I do like those trades a little more with injuries, but they're just less likely to happen and also usually don't lead to great trade relationships.
Yeah, well, he has the injured player, right, in JT. So could trade the injured player for ETN. He's 3-5, so needs a win potentially this week. What was the is JT expected to play again, JL? I remember you updated me at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, it was a twisted ankle. I don't think it was serious though.
But an ankle injury, it was obviously bothering him during that game. He got it retaped up at some point in the game after going off to the sideline. So it could still be bothering him.
Yeah,
but he's still JT.
I think that the issue with JT is Jonathan Taylor is twofold. It's the injuries, but also this offense has just been truly bad, truly one of the worst And that's been the big difference for Jonathan Taylor. It limits his upside. It's the same reason why Najee Harris isn't doing well either. We put a lot on these players, but a lot of it has to do with their offense as well.
Absolutely. DJ Moore, welcome to the Fact Club. Jale, here's this next one. And this is a guy whose horn you were tooting whenever I said he was done. Mr. Rondale Moore, fact or flash? Rondale Moore was the wide receiver 6 this week, had 92 receiving yards off 8 targets, 7 receptions, caught that touchdown, and had an additional 12 rushing yards on the ground. Fact or flash for Rondale Moore, Jale?
It is fact for me, Simon. The reason I say that is the usage. It's the usage, the snap share. His snap share is past week 99% of snaps he was out there. Week before that, 89%. Week before that, 99%. Week before that, 91%. He got 8 targets, then 2 targets 2 weeks ago, and then 10, and then 8. And so he is getting the usage. The targets are there. Touchdowns have not been there until this week. And DeAndre Hopkins coming back, Kyler Murray, them being able to move in this offense is positive for Rondale Moore. So fact, absolutely fact.
I don't want to say fact. I want to dig my heels in and say he's not going to be anything, but that's not what we do here. I was wrong about Rondale Moore. He is heavily involved in this offense this year. I did not think he was going to be after he came back, but he came back from that injury, and dude's been like a pivotal piece here. Maybe it works in his favor that DeAndre Hopkins missed some time, and then as soon as D-Hop comes back, Marquise Brown is out, right? Like he's kept relevant probably because of other players being injured or more relevant, but that doesn't matter for fantasy football. Who cares what the reason they're relevant is? Rondale Moore's relevant, and he's a fact. He is not flash anymore. Dale Dustin said Jail's facial hair, fact or flash? He says fact. Looks good. What do you
Flash.
say? Fact or flash?
Flash.
You don't like it?
It's just annoying, man. This is what, let's see. I stopped shaving on the 20, it was like a week and a half ago. So the 21st was when I stopped shaving. It was the last day I shaved. And it's just annoying. Like it's coming in more and more, but it's annoying still.
My mustache isn't growing as well on this side as it is on this side.
Really? You got
Look,
asymmetrical.
Check it out. You can just see.
Yeah, it is. It's long. Why is it longer on the other side?
It's just as long over here. They're just blonde. They're blonde little hairs over here, and over
I'm
here.
I'm not gonna be able to unsee that.
Yeah,
Your
now
face.
everyone watching this show has to look at my lopsided mustache for the rest of November because it's not getting any less lopsided. And Scott said, "Got to shave the neck beard, man."
I don't know how. I never
like
learned.
like this. But
where do you stop? Where do you begin?
You pick a line. I do like the crease of my neck, and then you shave it.
Oh, okay.
Whenever you do this, here, Joe, do this. Yeah, so right there where that starts. Yeah, right there. And then you just shave the gobbler right there.
A gobbler? Okay.
Also, Maria with a better idea. You could dye your neck beard.
That would be interesting. Very blonde.
I don't know why this reminded me of it. I was way too old when I learned how to shave. I was like 18 or 17 because it was right before I went to college, Dale. And I still didn't need to know how. Like I had no need to shave. But my neighbor who was a year behind me, our friend Landon, you know Landon.
Yeah.
He was a year behind me. He was already shaving his full beard. I haven't shaved once in my life. He's like, Simon, you don't have to shave yet, but you're about to go to college and someone has to teach you how to shave before you leave. Like someone has to teach you how to shave before you go to college. And so Landon taught me how to shave summer before I left for college. Completely unnecessary. It wasn't until like junior year that I even needed to shave my beard.
That's so nice of him. What a papa move. What a just like a straight up dad move.
Yeah, Landon's the man. You got to have some friends like that are like looking out for you like that.
My dad didn't really teach me how to shave either. I don't know. We just didn't talk about it. I said I had to learn my own.
Just here's a straight
He taught me
razor.
like after I knew. It's like a weird thing.
He just like tossed you a straight razor and said, "Go for it, son."
It wasn't even that. It was like I was already shaving, and then I think he felt bad that he didn't teach me. So then he tried to teach me, and it was just like, why are you doing this, man? This isn't hard.
Scott Fish saying, I stopped shaving about 18. Just preferred having stubble or a beard.
Wow, that's early. I've never grown it out. That's why I'm doing this.
Also, Scott in here said, yes, Simon, benefited from those. Was just typing. I have no idea what I benefited from. Let us know, Scott. Let us know. Joe, you ready for our next Factor Fast player?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fash.
I wanted to, but I wasn't gonna.
Factor fascist. Isaiah Likely.
I don't know, man. He seemed kind of fascist out there. Factor fascist.
That's our new title. Factor flashist. That changes it again entirely.
It sounds entirely different.
It just and then runs back in.
Damn it! I thought it was fact that time.
Oh,
Got hit with the surprise ween. All right, Isaiah Likely. Is that what you said?
Fact or flash?
Flash.
Fact or flash, Jail. Isaiah Likely, tight end for the Baltimore Ravens. We know Mark Andrews was out this week, so Isaiah Likely had to step in his stead and showed up with a pretty good game. Second highest tight end score on the week behind, of course, the superstar.
Of course.
Fill it in, Jail. You know who the number one was, of course.
Isaiah Likely.
No, Isaiah Likely was 2. And the of course, superstar Tyler Conklin was the number one scoring tight end on the week. Yeah. Obviously, we could have
Travis
predicted
Kelce
that before the show started. On his bye, Travis Kelce. But Isaiah Likely had 77 receiving yards off of 7 targets, scored a touchdown as well. JL, factor flash for Isaiah Likely.
Isaiah Likely looked fantastic in this past game. Very exciting for him. He is a very talented young player, rookie. It is unfortunately flash for him right now. So I'm adding an asterisk to this. It's because Mark Andrews is still there. Now, Mark Andrews is dealing with injuries, got shoulder and ankle injuries that he is working through. So that is why I have that caveat in here, is because if Mark Andrews does miss time, Isaiah Likely, he becomes fact. But for now, once Andrews comes back and is in the game, Isaiah Likely won't have a ton of usage. It'll be more similar to what we've seen earlier in the season, which is anywhere between like 2 and 5 targets a game.
Man, with Rashad Bateman staying banged up, though, I am tempted. Like looking at the receiving options on the Baltimore Ravens, like after Rashad Bateman goes down, it's Devin Duvernay and Isaiah Likely. Like I know there's other names there that they're chucking the ball to, but like the players that get me excited, the players that I'm happy about, like Isaiah Likely could see maybe a bigger role even when Mark Andrews is back if Rashad Bateman continues to stay out. I'm not calling for it, though. I just want to put that out there. Like I'm real tempted to say fact that he's going to carve out a role this year. I think the more likely scenario is exactly what you said, Jail. Fact on the talent. Dude looks all right. Flash on his fantasy relevancy this year, unfortunately.
I'm very excited for him, though, just in general. Like, would you stash him, Simon, at this point?
What is November?
In redraft?
Like this?
Yeah.
Rub my mustache, just stash him like this. You've been stashed, Isaiah.
Get stashed, Isaiah. If I see him in the street, I'm gonna stash.
In redraft, no, because I'm likely not rostering 2 tight ends at this point in the season. I don't know if he's the guy. Maybe if you're the Mark Andrews manager and you're like nervous about that injury, you could stash him, but he's not like a mustache player for me.
Mustache. You said mustache.
I didn't even mean to.
All right, who's next? So you said we're double flash.
We're double flashing Isaiah Likely. Sorry, Likely. Or
first flash, though. It's been fact up till now.
Yeah. Also, Scott Fishing, you're saying Rondale Moore benefited from great timing of coming off injury with D-Hop out and then Brown getting hurt right before D-Hop came back. So he was agreeing with me earlier when he said that. Yeah, that timing was just about perfect for him to stay relevant. And Jail Dustin said fact or flatulence.
Ooh, flatulence all day.
Now, Garrett Wilson is the next player that we are talking about, fact or flash. Garrett Wilson, pretty good week, 7 targets, 115 receiving yards, but it has not been just smooth sailing for Garrett Wilson. It's been pretty bad for him since Zach Wilson came back.
Sailing.
Rough sailing. Fact or flash for Garrett Wilson?
It is flash for Garrett Wilson. I'm excited for him as a rookie, as a wide receiver. But I can't, in good faith, say that he is fact when we just haven't really seen him do it outside of a few games. For now, it's flash.
Man, he's so good, though, right? Like
he is.
This player is a phenomenal player. It makes me not want to say flash because also we've seen him put up big games this year. especially when Joe Flacco was playing, he was getting targeted a little bit more heavier. Started the season 8 targets, 14 targets, 11 targets as a rookie. So like we saw that. Zach Wilson comes
dropped
back.
off.
Now we've got last 4 games, 4, 5, 4, and then 7 this week. So a slight uptick. But they're also just
his
throwing
snap
the ball.
percentage has been all over the place.
Throwing the ball significantly less as well. Like, so his snap percentage is off. They're not throwing the ball nearly as much as they thought they were going to. But man, you know what, JL? We saw it at the beginning of the year. And I think this Jets team needs someone to kind of step up like this. I think fact for Garrett Wilson. I think they're going to see what he did this week, and they're going to see what he did at the beginning of the year and make a point of getting him more involved, especially with Breece Hall missing the rest of this season. They need a playmaker, and I think it's going to be Garrett Wilson. I'm going fact for Mr. Garrett Wilson is what I'm doing.
I like it. So you went fact, I went flash. That's the first time we've diverged here.
Yeah. Guys, and speaking of Garrett Wilson, I was just reminded today on the Better Sports Network Twitter account, we are giving away a Garrett Wilson autographed full-sized New York Jets football helmet. It's part of our daily social giveaways on Twitter all week long, and you can be a winner. The contest closes tonight at 9 Eastern on Better Sports Live when Rick Kamla will announce the winner. All you got to do is make sure you're following Better Network on Twitter. That's at Better Network, and retweet the pinned giveaway post to qualify. This is brought to you by GetInTheGame.com and Better Sports Network. Garrett Wilson autographed full-size helmet you can win. So, guys, make sure you're heading on over to that Better Sports Network Twitter account and retweeting that for your chance. Man, I love a full-sized helmet. There's just something different. Like, don't get me wrong. Mini helmets are dope, right? Like a mini helmet, it's easier to display, but the full-sized helmet is a ridiculous piece of memorabilia to own. Like, it's huge.
I know. I really want to get one. I tried when I ordered this one. I tried getting full-size ones on Pristine Auction. Just was not able to secure it. Also, I have no idea where I'm going to put that.
On your head at all times.
At all times.
You're just wearing it. JL's going to slowly start collecting a bunch of different sizes of Justin Tucker helmets. A mini helmet, a full-size helmet, a maxi helmet, a micro helmet, a nano helmet.
I just love the matte colored helmets. I love them so much, especially when they're dark mode.
God, but the matte helmets for the Browns yesterday, like they looked a little bit different yesterday, those Browns helmets, didn't they? They looked like a matte. It didn't work. It looked like
the Browns have no sense of marketing or branding.
I just don't get it. Like it looked like someone like put those stripes on with stickers. Like it didn't look like they were even part of the helmet. I was just looking, I'm like, what are you doing? I will say those brown jerseys though are my favorite of all their jerseys. They should wear those every game. The white ones are just like bleh. It's like white with brown and orange stripes. It just looks like the worst Thanksgiving tablecloth ever. Like it's just, the white jerseys are disgusting. We got some more factor flash, JL. We said Garrett Wilson. Fact for me, flash for you, our first disagreement. And next up is Khalil Herbert. Mr. Herbert. Running back for the Chicago Bears. Khalil Herbert this week had 99 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. He did this with David Montgomery active, had the better game. JL, factor flash, Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert. Oh man, this one is tough. I'm gonna go with flash. I don't think they're gonna keep using him in that way. 16 carries, 99 yards. He played 28% of snaps. 28% and had 16 carries. Make it make sense, Simon.
No. No, not at all. Najel, I was hoping you would say fact so I could come in here and be like, nope, it's flash. I thought we were gonna have another disagreement. I like Khalil Herbert. This is another one of those, like, talent-wise, I think it's fact. Or if you're looking at RB3 numbers, then it's fact. But to see what we got this weekend every week, David Montgomery still seems like the lead back, even though Khalil Herbert looks better out there on the field a lot of the time. It's another Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard situation maybe, where they keep running with the main guy, and maybe there's things that we aren't seeing as fantasy players as to why Montgomery's the primary running back in this offense, right? So it's flash for Khalil Herbert until his usage goes up. Yeah,
and Dustin, you're saying fact, and it's worth explaining the nuance here. Is like we're not necessarily saying that it's flash, like Khalil Herbert won't ever be good again. It's really, is he going to continue this trend throughout this season in the near future here? And I agree with you, Simon. It's unlikely that they phase out David Montgomery. I think they are going to work him in a bit more. We've already seen that happen. But I think his upside is absolutely limited.
And Dustin said, just wait till they trade Monty today. Yeah, well,
if they do that, it changes the situation entirely. Yeah, in which case, throw away everything we just said.
Yeah, if David Montgomery gets traded, it is hogs up, hogs all the way up for Khalil Herbert.
Because then they just feed him.
Khalil Herbert is what it becomes after that. Khalil Herbert. Whew, JL, that was a fun segment. We had one disagreement. Garrett Wilson, Factor Flash. That was pretty good. But guys, it is time for our newest game that we are going to be playing today. We're playing a game that we call Made Up Quotes. JL, you want to tell us how this game is going to work?
Absolutely. So in this segment, both Simon and I have come up with made up, randomly generated quotes, dialogue, quotation. And we are so we are going to take turns essentially misattributing the quote and making up context. So who said it and why? Why did they say it? But it's completely made up. We have no idea what the quotes are going into it that we'll be giving each other. So it'll be completely random to us. The first time we're seeing it.
Let's do it. Dale, I throw one your way first so I can see how it's done. You explain this.
Sure.
Let's throw one your way first to see how this is done. Here is the quote. Somehow we need to persuade him to part with $1 million.
This was said by the Houston Texans GM, Brandon Cooks, because they secretly promised Brandon Cooks $1 million on the table if he finishes the season. But he wants to be traded so badly right now. They got to find a way to give him $1 million, not pay him $1 million.
They got to convince him to not part with that $1 million. It makes sense. Makes sense. Heard it here first, guys. Brandon Cooks, the Texans offered him $1 million under the table. They got to find a way for him not to take that.
It's true fact. Schefter reported it.
Schefter with 3 Fs, though.
Yeah, Schefter with 3 Fs. All right, Simon, here's your first quote. There's a surprise for you in the garage.
Of course. This one's pretty easy. So, JL, Baker Mayfield, we all know he got evicted from his home in Cleveland, right? Whenever he got traded to the Carolina Panthers. There hasn't been a new series of commercials yet as he got settled into his new stadium, the Panther Stadium. But it turns out the stadium's only for starters. So you can only live in the stadium if you're the starting quarterback or injured. Now that he's healthy and no longer the starting quarterback, he suddenly didn't have a place to live. So PJ Walker invited him over and said, hey, I got a surprise for you in my garage. Opened it up. There's a futon, a TV, and a mini fridge, and Baker Mayfield's moving into PJ Walker's garage. That was the surprise. He can't live in the stadium anymore. He's not the starter.
In the stadium now. He's got his own little bachelor pad in PJ's garage. I like that. Thanks for explaining that to me, Simon.
Yeah, of course. I can't believe you missed that news, though.
I know, that is kind of crazy. Dennis in here with a question in between these rounds. Half PPR week 9. My flex sucks. Would you waiver start need 8+ upside? Duvernay, Garrett Wilson, Joshua Palmer, Rondale Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Allen Robinson, or Van Jefferson, or Kyle Pitts. Sorry, that was a tough one for some reason for me to read.
I think it's Kadarius Toney there next to MVS as well.
Okay.
Makes sense because he's got A-Rob and Van Jefferson on the same team with the slash, MV Toney on the same team with the slash. I think I'm going Rondale Moore here with the target volume that he's been getting. I think Rondale Moore is the player that you plug in. Duvernay's tempting with all these players banged up for the Ravens, but I just trust Rondale Moore, so I'm going that way. What about you, JL?
Yeah, I think Duvernay is the one that I'm also trying to go between because of Rashad Bateman, but honestly, his usage hasn't been great even with Rashad Bateman out. He hasn't really, apart from 1 week, he hasn't gotten over 5 targets in a single game. He's been just very inefficient with his opportunities. So I can't in good faith say Duvernay here. I would also go Rondale Moore.
Rondale Moore, double Rondale Moore. Man, I did not think I'd be answering Rondale Moore for a lot of questions this year, but here we are.
Here we are.
You ready for your next quote, JL?
Yes.
Here's your next quote. Do you ever think we should just stop doing this?
This was said by Tom Brady. This is said by Tom Brady to Gronkowski right before the season started. He was thinking about it. He just retired, and he was thinking about going back. And he and Gronk are sitting on Gronk's cruise overlooking the ocean. Just said, Tom looks at him and says, "You ever think we should stop doing this?" And Gronk says, "What?"
Gronk, I'm imagining for sure thought he was talking about the cruise, but Tom was definitely talking about football. And Gronk said, "No, we can never stop doing this." And Tom was like, "You're right. I'm unretiring." And he goes back out there, and Gronk's like, wait, I thought we were cruising together, man. Like Gronk took it as Brady, like saying, like, let's just cruise together for the rest of our lives. Let's live
He's
on a
like,
cruise
yes,
ship.
Tom, that's what I've been saying. Leave your
Yes!
family.
And then Tom leaves, and he's still crying to this
No,
day.
I don't want to do football.
Also, I see Jolly Rancher in here. It says Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. Who's who? JL, are you Santa Claus or are you the Easter Bunny?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear which one I am. Santa Claus. Yeah. Why did you say Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny? I have no idea what that's referring to.
Just letting us know.
Just letting us know that they're there. All right, Simon, you ready for your next quote?
Let's do it. I'm a little nervous. I don't know why.
You should be. Here's your next quote, Simon. A boy needs his father.
Yeah, he does. And JL, this was said by Joe Flacco whenever he was asked about how Zach Wilson's progression is coming along, referring to himself as the father. There's been rough sledding for Zach Wilson, but Joe Flacco is his Jets daddy now. And he said, it's been rough sledding. Like, he hasn't looked like the first round pick that the Jets wanted him to be, but a boy needs his daddy, and I'm here for him.
Boy needs his daddy. Oh, it changes it.
Daddy, here for him is what. Yeah, this quote that you read was actually wrong. They left off part of it. Joe Flacco did say a boy needs his daddy, and Zach Wilson was quoted afterwards saying, "I do need my daddy, and Joe's my daddy,
and Papa Joe is it.
Papa Joe's my daddy." Gives him all the life lessons, teaches him how to sling the ball, teaches him about the birds and the bees. It's just all the stuff that you need to learn. Joe Flacco's teaching Zach Wilson.
What a good guy, man. I had no idea Joe Flacco was such a good papa.
I know. Just doing the Lord's work out there is Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
I see Albert in here. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Albert.
For those of you that are just joining us, maybe to avoid confusion, we are playing a game called Made Up Quotes right now. We've got randomly generated lines of text quotes that JL and I are then misattributing to whoever we want, I guess. We've done all NFL so far, but we never even set that as a rule that it had to be NFL. We're just rolling that way.
Could be anybody.
It's the Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. Maybe that's what my mom was saying. It's Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny talking to each other. JL, are you ready for your next quote?
Yes.
Number 3. Here we go. I don't often get the chance to talk to someone like you.
This was said by the woman. Her name is Clarice, and she was just sitting at a bar on a Tuesday night when in walks Aaron Rodgers. He sits down next to her and he says, "I don't often get to talk to people like you." She's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah. What do you do for a living?" She's like, "I'm an accountant." He's like, "That's cool. You want to do ayahuasca in my van?" She's like, "No." And that's what happened.
I imagine Aaron Rodgers walking in his white undershirt with his jeans on, hair back, and he walks up and like he thinks he's in a movie. Like goes up to the girl at the bar and says that line like, "I don't talk to people like you that much around here." Like and she's just looking like we're at a Chili's. Like, what are you doing?
They're closing up.
She's like, you don't talk to 38-year-old brunette women very often. Like you know nothing else about me besides like the pantsuit I'm wearing. You don't talk to women in pantsuits very often, Aaron.
Yeah, what are you doing? What does this mean?
Or do you just mean women in general? Like
wow, his mindset to go into that and be like, "I don't talk to people like you very, very often."
Women. And he means women. He means women.
Yeah.
I've just been talking to Randall Cobb for the past 3 months.
Bunch of linemen. I just touch their booties and I talk to them. Nobody else talks to me.
He calls up Randall Cobb at 3 a.m. What's up, Randall? Just saying, hey. I talked to a girl at Chili's tonight.
Yeah. Could be serious.
Really
She might
well.
be the one.
She said, no, I don't want to do ayahuasca in your van with you. But it was a full sentence she responded with. It went really well.
I think she'll say yes next time I ask.
What's up, Richard? Welcome in. Glad to have you in here.
Richard, welcome in.
Hey, Jill, I missed that story. I'm glad you caught me up on that. That was a pretty good one.
I got you. All right, you ready for your next one, Sam?
I would love another one.
Here's the next quote. I'm sorry if it upsets you, but I'm going to marry her.
Yeah, of course. This was Jackson Mahomes to Patrick Mahomes after he and Brittany fell in love making TikToks together. Patrick just kept telling them to stop making TikToks, but Jackson and Brittany wouldn't stop. They got addicted. They got hooked on it. And the level of success they found, the thrill of making a TikTok while Jackson's brother and Brittany's husband didn't want him to do so, was too much for them to survive. Jackson comes in and says, Patrick, I'm sorry, but I'm marrying her. I got to marry her. We're in love.
What does Patrick say?
Okay.
He just rolls over and shows his belly.
He says, on to the Bills.
Okay.
He says, on to the Bills.
Oh, Patrick's never going to come on our show now because we make fun of his voice too much.
I love his voice. It's not nearly as bad as we're making it out to be.
It's not. Well done, Simon. Well done.
Dennis said record is going to be 3-6 after this week. Need to get into the playoffs. Big names I need to flip for immediate production. I could flip Chase, Jonathan Taylor, Najee, Sutton. I need one wide receiver, one running back in return. Ideas? Joe, you got any ideas looking at this for trades? What sucks is you've got 2 injured players and a player who nobody wants to trade for in Najee Harris and Cortland. Like, you're not going to get the appropriate value for these guys. I feel like not JT, not Jamar Chase, not Najee.
Yeah, I'm keeping all those guys except for Sutton. If you could trade Sutton, I would try. I don't know. His value's dropping fast. I don't know that you'll be able to get much for him, but I would be fine with that. I'm just looking at Alex's trade value charts from last week. I can't imagine. I'm not even going to ask this because it's not the same. I was going to say DeAndre Hopkins is right under Cortland Sutton. Would you make that trade? But I don't think you get that trade done now.
No, you're not getting that done.
What about Terry McLaurin? Would you trade Cortland Sutton for Terry McLaurin, Sam? Or which would you rather have?
Terry McLaurin.
What about Zeke or Sutton?
If you need a running back, I prefer Zeke. They're in a similar tier, though.
Ramondre Stevenson or Cortland Sutton?
Stevenson.
If you can flip that, I would do it. I don't know if you will, but if you can, that'd be cool.
Yeah, if you can flip Sutton to Stevenson, that's a good point. Now, I mean, I guess if you're win now, like you need a win now, you could try to cash in on Chase to one of the like top teams. Like look at the teams that are 8-0, 7-1, 6-2. And you could potentially trade Jamar Chase to them for close to top value. But I'm not sure if you're going to make that happen. But that's the player I'd be most willing to trade since you need wins now and he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, right? Like sometimes you have to sell below value in order to just you got to manufacture wins sometimes though. Like sometimes you just have to manufacture a win.
Here's my issue though with that is that like I understand the need to want to have a win when you're 3-6 and like you don't want that to get too far away from you to where you're end up going 3-10 or something. But at the same time, you winning now is not worth anything if you're not going to win later on, right? So like that's why I hesitate with some of these decisions to be like, let me trade away Jamar Chase now when really you just shot yourself in the foot in 4 weeks because you traded away really like one of your top talents.
4 weeks is just about playoffs time though. And like my argument is
4 weeks from now is week 13.
Week 9. Playoffs usually start week 14. Like it's around there. Week 14, week 15. Like
right. That's
right. Like it's and so my only argument is like, Jail, I don't disagree with you. You could be shooting yourself in the foot later, but you might be shooting yourself in the foot in the playoffs. No, like at least you're in the play. Like you cannot win your league if you're not in the playoffs. You just can't do it. It's impossible.
Sure, that is
so sometimes you just got to make moves to get there, even if it's going to screw you over in the playoffs, because you never know what happens in the playoffs. So you got to be in there to play. You got to be in there to win. And so that's where I'd be okay moving Jamar Chase. He's going to be out for the rest of the time pretty much. That's going to help you get to the playoffs. So if you need to cash in and just get someone that's going to help you get there, go ahead and do it. But
It's
that
fair.
sucks. That sucks.
If I could trade Sutton, I would out of that group. But I'm fine with that. If you do want to trade Jamar Chase, just don't go and trade Jamar Chase for like Clyde Edwards-Helaire or something stupid like that. Like get at least decent value back.
Would you do Miles Sanders? Not enough?
No, it's not. That's not enough for me.
What's enough? Name a running back that's enough. Never enough.
Would you do Leonard Fournette?
Oh, God. Man, right after I said I would cash in at a lower value, I just have so much trouble. Maybe. Yeah, Josh Jacobs. Maybe after that low game, I would definitely do Josh Jacobs. If you want to trade.
Oh, yeah. Josh Jacobs over. Yeah, for sure. Would you do DeAndre Swift?
I think I would. I would do DeAndre Swift. I know we're a little bit nervous about that injury, but I think I would do that. Brendan says, does it make sense to trade Chase for Godwin with how inconclusive it is with his return? So it could be 4 to 6 weeks. Would you do that trade, JL?
No, they're not playing well enough. Godwin's not like, if the offense is playing like they were last year, then yeah. But like Tom Brady and that offense is just not clicking right now. So like the upside is not even really there at the moment.
Yeah. Godwin's a good player. It's not quite enough. I would want Godwin plus. Know what I mean? Like maybe Godwin plus a Miles Sanders type player to make that happen. And still then it's a little iffy, but you need a little bit more on the Godwin side to make that happen for me.
What about Mike Evans?
It's a little closer. It's a little closer, but Chris Godwin's been out targeting him the past couple weeks, right?
Yeah,
like Chris Godwin, it's very similar. I would probably need Evans plus to make that happen.
Yeah.
CFC had a question for us. Said Michael Thomas on my waiver. I already have 2 injured players, Elijah Mitchell and Jamar Chase. Do I pick him up? Would you pick up Michael Thomas already having 2 players on that are injured?
Yeah, I think you could. I just dropped Michael Thomas in the league. I had to. It's a crazy stack league. So, I'm not saying he's droppable, but we just don't know. The latest we've gotten is that there's just, that I'm seeing here is no timetable for Michael Thomas. So I would do that if I'm going to drop one of these 2 guys, it's going to be Elijah Mitchell. CMC is now the running back there. Elijah Mitchell lost his job.
Boo. But yay for CMC.
He still might be used when he comes back. We don't know, but it's not going to be the same for sure. I'd be fine doing that if you'd rather take the shot on Michael Thomas.
Yeah. I'm with you, JL. Trenton had another question. Chase for Lamb. So following up on that Chase, JL, would you trade Chase for CD Lamb?
Yeah, I would.
Absolutely. Good luck, though. Good luck trade. Like they're in a similar tier. Dak Prescott is back.
Yeah, when healthy.
Yeah. When healthy, they're in a similar tier.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott's back. So when you worry about CD Lamb is gone after what Dak just did, and Chase is going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Like
you're going to have to package that. I think it's just going to be a hard sell to get here. Take these 3 weeks of nothing.
3. Yeah. 3 minimum, right? They're looking 4, and that's optimistic, right? 6. It could be more like 6. They didn't put him on IR. So we're hoping that it's closer to that 4, but yeah, you're not going to get that done. But if you can, Trenton, slam dunk, go get some CD Lamb, get those extra 4 or 5 weeks out of them. Guys, coming up, we have a lot more football fun that we're going to be talking about. Jalen and I are going to be running through our division predictions, who we think is going to win each division. And then we'll go through some waiver wire talk for you guys, help you out with the waiver wire for this week. And then we're going to end the show with some unpopular opinions. Opinions that Jalen and I have that maybe aren't quite so popular. Get them out there. Maybe some football, maybe some non-football. So you guys start thinking about your unpopular opinions as well. If you've got any, get them ready because we're going to be talking those at the end of the show. A reminder for everyone watching as well. If this is your first time here hanging with us, we want to welcome you in. We are glad to be spending our morning with you. We're here every morning from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. And if you're enjoying what we're doing here, then you want to make sure you head over to our YouTube and hit that subscribe button. We have more of this, more fantasy football talk, more Factor Flash talk, more random nonsense. So make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Call, chat, and enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network. Moose and Keith.
Because I never asked you this. when Noah was growing up, when did Noah first where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah till he was about 19.
Nice.
So,
your wife did a good job.
Yeah, you may want to talk to your wife. I would say about 13, he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required. And then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of, okay, you do all this prep, but you got to go out and deliver it. So yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
You don't need to be like right 100% of the time.
No, there was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we could probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have
what I love.
satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, it doesn't count. Sorry, couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And, they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
And I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player's just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Is it me, Ray, or is the only publicity that Microsoft Surface has gotten out of their whole thing on the sideline is people throwing them to the ground in anger? Is that just a me thing? Or the only time I hear about this device, Ray, is when somebody is chucking it on the ground, just pissed off at it, which I get it. All of us are in that world. We love to do that. Only in the NFL, Ray, can they get away with it because these are free. There's no cost. It's part of the sponsorship. Here's 5,000 Microsoft tablets to get you through the NFL season, and these players, right, just slamming up tablets. It's like they've become Gilbert on the sideline, and they're so frustrated. They're just the only publicity this company and this product has gotten is negative.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are about to get into our division predictions, breaking down who we think is going to win each division and grab those wild card spots in the playoffs as well. Dale, I'll be curious to see how accurate we are at the end of this year because this season's been a little bit unpredictable, good team-wise. I'm still confused on which teams are good and which teams are not good. Before we get into that, though, Brendan had a question for us, or a comment, said, what I'm most worried about is if the Bengals keep doing how they're doing, they just hold Chase out if it's closer to the 6-week mark. That if they keep losing, maybe they're less likely to plug him in there. The one thing I would argue about that, Brendan, is prior to this week, I know Chase was in, but the Bengals, I feel got some stank on them at the beginning of the year because they lost those first 2 games, right? But then they won 4 of their next 5, with the only loss being that close loss to the Ravens. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the Jets. They beat the Falcons. I forget who else they beat, but one other team in there that they took down in that stretch. I think this Bengals team is a good enough team that they're going to want to compete right away. They're not going to be out of the playoff hunt in 4 weeks whenever Jamar Chase comes back. They're still going to be in that playoff hunt, so they're going to want Jamar Chase on the field as soon as possible. At least that's how I feel about it. What about you, JL?
That makes a ton of sense. I agree with that, Simon. This team isn't terrible. They're not bad at all. They just have some holes that they need to fill. Primarily 5 holes in that offensive line.
And I don't think it's all 5.
Not all 5.
It's that tackle play that seems pretty rough that they were talking about yesterday. But hopefully they can do something about that. Doesn't look like it's going to be this year, but they got to protect Joe Burrow, or he's only going to play till he's like 30. He's not going to make it much longer. What was it? I saw something yesterday. Somebody posted somewhere, I can't remember where, but that if Joe Burrow keeps getting sacked at this rate and plays as long as Tom Brady, that he'll have been sacked over 1,000 times. By the time he's that old. It's unsustainable. So they got to do something about it. JL, it's time for some division predictions. We're going to go division by division, picking the team that we think is going to come out on top in that division. We're going to start with the NFC East. Right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are the betting odds favorite at -370. The Dallas Cowboys are sitting at +400. And then we have the New York Giants at +1,300 and the Washington Commanders at +15,000 to win the division. JL, who's winning this division?
In the NFC East, man.
So the Eagles they're 7-0. The Cowboys and Giants sitting there at 6-2 in the division as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles are fantastic. They're next to the Bills, I think the best team in the NFL right now. I got to go Eagles. It is closer than you'd think. I feel like on merit alone, these two teams, the record does not accurately represent the talent and just difference between these two teams. Not these two teams, but the Eagles and the rest of the division.
The Eagles are 7-0 for a reason, and it's because they're a very good football team. And then their schedule rest of season is pretty damn nice, right? They have a nice rest of season schedule, so I don't see them giving up this top spot in this division.
What are the odds on FanDuel Sportsbook for the Eagles?
For the Eagles are sitting at -370.
-370?
Yeah, and then the Cowboys at +400. So they agree with us quite a bit there.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's worth throwing a little money on.
Sprinkle a little on the Eagles -370.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could be higher. I'm looking at some of these other division favorites, and they're a little bit higher. And I put the Eagles right up there. It's the Cowboy effect. The Cowboys always get that level of respect from the sportsbook. I think because
that's true.
People love the Cowboys or love betting on the Cowboys. It's where the money goes.
What are the odds for the Cowboys? I know you said it, but
+400.
+400. Man, that's a pretty big difference between the Eagles and them. Would you throw some money on the Cowboys?
I mean, what you're doing there is you're saying Jalen Hurts gets injured, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like Jalen Hurts gets injured, they slip a couple games, Cowboys steal it, both still make the playoffs. But I'm not sprinkling it over there. If I'm sprinkling anywhere, I'm sprinkling on the Eagles -370.
That's wild.
Yeah. Decent difference though in that one. Jay, let's move on to our next division. We've got the NFC West as our next division. In the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers are currently the favorite at -140. The Seahawks at +310, the Rams at +440, and the Cardinals at +1200. That being said, the Seahawks currently lead the division at 5-3. The 49ers are second in the division at 4-4, Rams at 3-4, and Cardinals at 3-5. So this division really is wide open, and the betting odds are showing us that as well, right? All of these teams are still in contention.
Yeah, absolutely. The 49ers trading for Christian McCaffrey, I sure shifted the odds. I don't know how much, but that puts them ahead for me. The Seahawks have been playing great, but it feels like they're playing a bit out of their depth or out of their element. It doesn't feel like if you put these two teams up against each other a bunch of times that the Seahawks are going to come out on top. So I'll go 49ers.
And I want to say Seahawks so bad. Geno Smith has just been absolutely killing it. And at the beginning of the year, if someone would have told you in this division, Trey Lance, Jimmy G, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, and Geno Smith, that Geno Smith would be the best quarterback through 8 weeks of the season, would you have believed him?
No, probably not.
Not even a little bit. I want to just keep buying in. Geno's just been doing Geno things, but you can't ignore Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers. It pushes them over the edge.
It really does.
It just, I think I might have taken Seahawks before the trade, just based on what we've seen on the field. But after that trade, I got to go 49ers. Didn't want to agree with you there, JL, but I'm going to have to do it. 49ers minus 140. Though I don't mind Seahawks plus 310. You know what I mean? I think that's a fun bet. Throw some money on the Seahawks because they're currently leading the division. They look good. Like they look like a above average football team, and they got the game lead right now, right? They could sneak out the win in this division.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they could. It would be fun. That would be really fun. If the Seahawks win this division, that'll be nuts. Shanahan's losing his job if that's the case.
No, he's not. He won't lose his job. If they still make the playoffs, he'll be fine. Joe, let's move on to the NFC South. We're knocking out the NFC sections over here. In the NFC South right now, currently the Falcons lead the division at 4-4. The Buccaneers and Saints both sitting at 3-5, and the Panthers at 2-6. But again, could be anybody's division. The odds, Tampa Bay is currently favored at minus 135. The Falcons are at plus 250. Saints at plus 400, and the Panthers at plus 3,500.
Plus 3,500. That's you taking that with the Peach Walker?
No.
Peach connection?
Absolutely not.
I bet Kupp would take it if he was here.
Yeah, well,
NFC
he's in
South.
Iceland, Jo.
Yeah, he is.
You're stuck with me.
This is so ugly. I'm gonna go Bucks, but I'm just doing that by default because I feel like they're the best team, which is not saying much.
Man, I like Joe. On paper, I agree with you, but I haven't seen much from them to say they are the best team. I feel like I've seen flashes from another team on this list, the New Orleans Saints. Like they have had games where they look pretty decent, and that defense is good. Like they have a good defense there in New Orleans. So I'm gonna go with the New Orleans Saints to win this division. They're currently in third, but they've got the same record as the Falcons. They just coming off a big win against the Raiders. I think the Saints team is looking all right. And it's a weak division, right? This isn't me saying, the Saints are a great team or even the Saints are like a division winning caliber team. But when your division is the struggling Bucs, the Panthers, and the Falcons, then it becomes a little bit easier.
Right.
Man, the starting quarterbacks in this division, Tom Brady, Andy Dalton, Marcus Mariota, PJ Walker. And somehow Tom Brady and the Bucs aren't just like absolutely dominating this division.
So dumb.
Brutal. The Falcons are currently leading the Buccaneers in this division. Just
doesn't make any sense.
Bizarre. I'm taking New Orleans in that one, though. JL, we got one more NFC slot before we pick our wild card teams from the remaining teams here. One more NFC slot, and that is the NFC North. We've got the Minnesota Vikings, the Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears, and the Detroit Lions, and that is the order they are in the rankings. The Minnesota Vikings sitting at 6-1, Packers and Bears at 3-5, and the Lions at 1-6. I'll go first on this one, Jale. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the team that's 6-1 when the next best team is 3-5 is going to win this division. This is the year that the North falls to the Vikings. It's not going to be the Packers anymore. The Minnesota Vikings take home the NFC North. Bold call, huh?
That is a bit of a bold call.
No,
That's super bold. Aaron Rodgers playing like poo-poo butts. The Vikings is probably the boldest call. That's like similar to my Mike Williams take earlier on in the season, Simon, in terms of boldness.
Right up.
I'm gonna be brave with you. I'm gonna go Vikings as well.
God, we're so brave.
So brave.
We're just so unbelievably brave right now. It's difficult to imagine not being this brave.
Yes. Thank you for clapping in the chat. We hear you.
Please clap. That's the greatest debate moment ever. Whenever Jeb Bush said, "Please clap."
Please clap.
That's number one debate moment. Just it was so.
I don't know that I have a list.
It was so genuine and earnest. It was just like he meant it. Like, please clap. Poor guy. That one hurt. That one hurt to watch. Jail, so you also picked Minnesota?
I did.
Okay, now we got to identify our wild card teams. I say we go back and forth naming them. If you agree, you can put them on your list too. It's not like first come, first serve. But there's one that stands out to me as has to be in here as a wild card team. And that's the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys belong as a wild card team for me. They're going to be one of my three. Dale, are they one of your three as well?
They're absolutely one of my three. So I will join you, Simon.
Dallas Cowboys. Do you have another team that's joining your wild card, Dale? Two more teams are going to make it.
Yeah. I want to throw. I wonder if the Giants are able to pull out a wild card spot. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Giants.
That was going to be my next one, JL.
Let's go all NFC East, baby.
The Giants in the playoffs, I'm going with New York Giants as well. And then the last one, we talked about them, JL, or for me, the last one that I'm putting in there. Do we have any disagreements? We have one disagreement so far, New Orleans versus Tampa Bay. We agree on both of the wild cards so far. We'll see if you agree with my last one. I'm putting the Seattle Seahawks in there with Geno Smith at quarterback. I think they'll be the second team there from the NFC West. Not going to win the division. The 49ers take it, but they'll win enough games to still make the playoffs with a wild card spot.
Yeah, I was also going to go Seahawks, so we are very chalk, I guess.
That's okay. We got one pick different there. I went New Orleans. You went Tampa Bay to make it in there, and you've got New Orleans missing the playoffs, and I've got the Buccaneers missing the playoffs. You know what? I feel a lot less comfortable with that pick now that I said Tom Brady missing the playoffs. That doesn't feel right.
I think it's I don't know. I don't want to take that. I don't want to make that bet against Tom Brady.
It feels risky, right?
It feels very risky.
It just feels wrong. So quick rundown. JL and I both have Philadelphia winning the East. We both have San Francisco winning the West. JL's got Tampa Bay winning the South. I've got New Orleans. We both have Minnesota winning the North, and then each of us with Dallas, New York Giants, and Seattle Seahawks getting those 3 wildcard spots in the NFC. Looking pretty good. We'll see what happens next to absolutely ruin our predictions this year.
We'll see. I threw a poll in the chat to see who's going to win the NFC South. I'm curious what the chat thinks.
That one was the hardest one to decide, wasn't it?
Yeah, easily.
Okay, JL, you want to move on to the AFC? I'll go first on this first one. We've got the AFC West as our first one that we are going to be picking here. The AFC West, those teams that we're looking at are the Kansas City Chiefs, currently at minus 550 to win the division. The Los Angeles Chargers at plus 500. The Broncos at plus 3,400 and the Raiders at plus 4,400. The Chiefs currently sit at top this division at 5-2, but the Chargers are right behind them at 4-3. Broncos down there at 3-5. Raiders at 2-5. I think this is going to be the Raiders. Just kidding. Suck it, Tommy. Raiders are missing the playoffs. This is the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They are taking this one home. I am going KC here. No questions asked. I got faith in these guys. And they added Kadarius Toney. What else do you need? Another guy to ride the bench and provide moral support.
Yeah, so you don't think the Chargers make a run at this? You think they can beat the Chiefs?
They might make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to take the Chiefs out. The Chargers haven't looked like a Super Bowl contending team this year. Know what I mean? And the Chiefs look like a Super Bowl contending team.
Yeah, man, AFC is so much better than the NFC. I'm gonna go with Chiefs as well, Simon. I'm with you.
Double Chiefs. I saw a comment on Reddit yesterday, Joe, that pointed out there's this weird winning games triangle between the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Browns. The Bengals or the Chiefs cannot beat Joe Burrow. They haven't. They've yet to do it. Joe Burrow has yet to beat the Browns. He can't beat the Browns. The Browns have yet to beat the Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs. So it's a nice little triangle where the Chiefs can't beat the Bengals can't beat the Browns can't beat the Chiefs.
That's wild.
Kind of funny, right? And then you go back and look at it. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense that the teams have matched up like that over the past couple weeks.
That is wild.
Dustin said, don't make me call you and put you both in your place when you get to the AFC East. Don't worry. We both picked the Dolphins, Dustin. No need
Dolphins
to worry.
Clearly are winning the AFC East.
Yeah, we're doing the AFC East now, JL. So you want to go ahead and just put Dolphins down for both of us?
Jets might, give this entire division a run for their money. I'll go
AFC
Jets.
East, you're going Jets?
No, absolutely not. Buffalo Bills.
The Bills are at 6-1. Jets at 5-3. Dolphins also at 5-3. Patriots at 4-4. And the Bills are the heavy favorites, minus 1,000 to win this division. With the Dolphins at plus 950, the Patriots at plus 3,200, and the Jets at plus 4,100.
Wow.
They got no faith in these Jets.
I don't blame them.
I mean, honestly, every team in here besides the Buffalo Bills should be at plus 40,000. Just make people throw money.
The Dolphins should not be that high. The Dolphins are close enough to the Bills that we saw a variance take its hold here earlier this season. You're right. As they won.
This Bills team looks dirty. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills for me as well. But there's some other good teams in this division. There's some other great teams in this division. JL, for the AFC South, we're looking at the AFC South now. The teams that we're looking at here, we've got the Tennessee Titans currently favored -280, the Indianapolis Colts at +450, the Jacksonville Jaguars at +600 to win this division, and the Texans at +7,000. And the order for these teams breaks down the same way. Titans at 5-2, Colts at 3-4, Jaguars at 2-6, and Texans at 1-5. Who are you taking to win this division?
1-5-1. They're tied.
1-5-1. Yeah, I forgot about the tie. Same with Colts, 3-4-1. Damn it, those stupid ties.
I love ties. They're so fun. Oh man, is this your least favorite division in all of the NFL, Simon? Because I think it's mine. Because I think it's my least favorite.
This is like the teams that also look like the most like fake. Like the logos look like if you were watching like a shitty high school drama and they just like had a scene at a football game, like these would be some of the logos that they threw up there, like just like a blue horseshoe. Like here's just a big old horseshoe, and that's what our high school is. We're the sitcom high school horseshoes.
Sitcom high school horseshoes. Sitcom. I'm gonna go Tennessee Titans. You gotta. They got the 2-win lead, and they're the clear. So stupid to say, they're the clear best team in this division.
I just never buy into Tennessee being a good team, even when they are like even when they're great, and they just like don't.
You gonna go Colts?
Good. No, I'm still going Titans. Like I'm not putting the Sam Ehlinger led Colts ahead of the Titans whenever they've already got a 2-game lead. Like it's just not going to happen. Tennessee Titans will take this division yet again, and we're going to be bored watching them do it yet again. Double Tennessee Titans for JL and I. JL, we gotta find something here. Maybe this is where we do it. The AFC North. The Ravens currently sitting at 5-3. The Bengals at 4-4. The Browns at 3-5, and the Steelers at 2-6. The Ravens are currently favored to win the division at -320, but the Bengals aren't far behind at +370. Browns +1,400. Steelers all the way down there at +5,000. Dale, who are you taking to win this division?
I am taking the Baltimore Ravens. The Roquan Smith trade was just a clear separator for me in this division. They clearly have the best team now with this Roquan Smith trade this year. They have the best shot at winning this division. So give me Ravens.
Baltimore. And Dale?
You agreeing?
Like, I think it's the Ravens, but this Bengals team, like over the past couple weeks before Jamar Chase got injured, their offense was looking like fantastic, right? We saw the electric offense again. They could make some noise. And then the Cleveland Browns, Joe, you mentioned it earlier. I'm not necessarily a believer, but the Cleveland Browns are a team that is getting Deshaun Watson back. This defense looks like it's starting to perform better. They just ate against that's a good point. Against the Bengals last night. And they're only a couple games behind. I'm still going to go with the Ravens. They've got that lead. They've got Lamar. They just upgraded the defense. But I do think those two teams, it's not as clear cut for the Ravens as I think it is for some of these other teams.
Definitely not as clear cut. I would agree with that entirely, Simon. This is one of the most competitive divisions in the league, in my opinion.
Is this your favorite division?
That's a good question. I don't think so. And it's because of the Browns. They ruin it for me.
See, it's the Steelers that ruin it for me.
Steelers. I like this. The Steelers are fun. The Steelers are still fun. Even though I dislike them, they're still fun. I think the AFC West might be my favorite.
The AFC West?
Oh, I don't know. I just like teams from each one. Don't make me choose.
I think the AFC North overall, there's some stinkers in there, but overall it's my favorite division to watch. Yeah. Those games always feel a little bit more like chippy too. Know what I mean? Like the in-division AFC North games, like they got like that.
You changed my mind, Simon.
They got that Midwest fire in them is what they got. Like they're pissed because it's been cloudy for 3 months and they're going to fight. Like that's the kind of fire we get, especially as like December starts rolling along. Like watch how mad the Cleveland and Pittsburgh players are. They're dealing with some nasty weather and they're out there just causing a scene.
Nick in here said Devontae Adams lost me my game this week. Oh, brutal. Yikes. Someone came in yesterday and said that they had was it Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and Derek Carr, and they got 3 points out of them. Might have been Malik Willis. Or not Malik Willis.
Maybe Mac it was Collins. Me who started Mac Hollins, Hunter Renfrow, and Josh Jacobs. Is that what you're thinking of in our guillotine league? It's very much so the reason I almost got eliminated was going all in on that Raiders team for this week.
During the break, I was reading my email and saw that the chop came down and I didn't realize it was Andy Barron's got the chop.
Suck it, Andy.
I didn't realize that was his team. It's like secret loaf treasure or whatever.
Would you have rathered me get cut than Andy Barron's?
Absolutely not.
I
love you, Andy, but absolutely not.
I still, every time I see Andy, I just remember at last time I saw him, every time he saw the biggest guy at the party, he would go up to him and tell him I wanted to fight him. Yeah. Just over and over again. Hey, that guy's trying to fight. That guy's trying to fight. You should wrestle that guy.
I love Andy. Andy's
over and over and over again. Jail. We got to pick our wild card teams now for the AFC. You've got the first pick. Who are you putting in there?
I just mentioned them. I'm going to throw the Bengals in here. The Bengals, they, apart from their offensive line, they have a solid team. Jamar Chase will be back later on in the season. Their current record is 4-4. They got Joe Burrow. It's been looking good. T. Higgins looking great. Yeah, I think the Bengals. I think the Bengals fill in one of these wild card spots here.
You know, like as I was going through this, Jay, like I think they're a good enough team, but there's just other teams that I had in there ahead of them. Like there's teams that are currently doing a little bit better that I've got ahead of them. Maybe I come to regret this. The Bengals look great, but they didn't look great last night, and they're sitting there in a big old glob with a bunch of teams in the like 4-4, 4-3, 3-5 range that could all make some noise. So the first one I'm going to go with is I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to throw the Miami Dolphins in there as one of my teams. I don't know if you agree with that one, Joe.
Yeah, they're going to be my next one.
You've got Miami and Cincinnati. I've just got Miami so far. I bet I got one that you're going to disagree with, JL.
I bet so. Yeah, no, Miami is my next one. 5-3. They're able to compete with this powerhouse Bills team. Yeah, if I had to choose between the two, like I wasn't doing these necessarily in order of like most likely or least likely.
Yeah,
I would put Miami above Cincinnati.
Miami. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Obviously, I would as well. I'll throw another one out there, Dale, since you've got two on there and I've got one. I'm going bold, and I'm saying the New York Jets make the playoffs. Currently sitting at 5-3, second in the AFC East. They get this offense rolling a little bit better, even without Breece Hall, and the Jets make the playoffs. That's my prediction. They're not going to win that division, obviously, but they could make some noise. What do you think about that one, Jay? Are you putting the Jets in there?
I think that's fine. I'm not putting the Jets in my wild card spot, and that's mostly because they just missed it. It's a really good conference, and the Jets are decent. I just I have the other teams beating them out.
I'm not putting the Jets in there because it's not where they go.
Because it's not where they belong.
The Jets aren't in the playoffs because the playoffs aren't for the Jets. That's just what I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that.
Well, I got the Jets in the playoffs because that's where I think they go. JL, who's your last wild card team? We'll see if we agree on this one.
My last wild card team is the Los Angeles Chargers. I think that they get this season back together. They're currently 4-3. Justin Herbert has been dealing with this rib injury, and it just hasn't looked the same. His offense hasn't looked the same. Been dealing with injuries between Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. They'll get Mike Williams back. They'll have Keenan Allen back. They'll have hopefully Justin Herbert will be good to go later on in the season. But I have them competing for my last wild card spot.
I like it. I'm going to go a little different here. I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm just kidding. They suck, Tommy. I'm just
suck.
Just trying to get a reaction. I actually like the Raiders this year, which is what's disappointing, Jail. Remember, I said, like, I'm cheering for the Raiders this year. I said that. Tim got me a Hunter Renfrow jersey. I decided I'm pulling for him. I've always liked them as, like, a secondary team, and then this is what they do to me. It's pretty rough, Tommy. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. But that being said, the Raiders will not make the playoffs, and I'm agreeing with you, JL. It's the Los Angeles Chargers in that last spot. They got a talented roster. It hasn't looked great, but I think they can get it together enough to lose in the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, it'll be no problem whenever they go up against. Oh, I don't know the way things are shaking out right now, JL. So if they got in there with like the last spot, which is kind of how I have them here, if the Chargers snuck in with that last spot and things stayed the same, they'd be playing the Tennessee Titans in that first round, and I could see them upsetting the Titans in that first round as the 7 seed.
Yeah, I could see that as well.
Maybe they make a little bit of noise.
Titans are not amazing.
No, I mean Derrick Henry's amazing. if they can get him going for 200 plus yards, then I guess it's hard to beat them regardless. But that's the game plan. Stop Derrick Henry from getting 200 yards. Tommy said, I'm drowning my sorrows in candy. You know what? There's a lot worse things to drown your sorrows in. Candy's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
I'm going to go shove 17 Tootsie Pops into my mouth in like 5 seconds over here because nobody took candy from my house. Guys, coming up, Jalen and I are going to be running through some waiver wire for you. And then we're going to go over some unpopular opinions to close the show out as well. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to like, track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
And I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player's just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley's going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Yeah, we got some people in the chat commenting on our playoff predictions over here. John saying if only the Jets had a real QB. Yeah, they do on the bench. His name's Joe Flacco,
fired.
Daddy Joe.
Daddy
They're not putting
Joe.
him in. And Joey said, my prediction is the Giants miss the playoffs. And Jay Felicio, our friend, our Giants fan friend, says, I'm glad we actually didn't want to win anyhow. That is a very Giants fan answer, isn't it?
That is so. That's the quintessential Giants fan answer. You want to win, man.
Also, Tommy in here saying I could also see Simon as president, but not happening. Could you see me as president, Chael?
Oh, absolutely. It'd be fantastic.
Here's the problem. I'm way too scared of getting murdered. This significant, that is a fear that lives in my
that
mind.
hasn't really happened to the
Jail.
U.S. president.
Okay,
forever.
but name another job where 4 out of 46 of the people who do it get murdered.
Yeah, but think about it this way. You are protected every other moment of the day where most people are dying, on the street, or they stop traffic so that you drive by. You're so much safer in every other way.
Yeah, but also so many people are mad at you, and
that part sucks.
I would just be thinking about that all the time. But Jail, I don't care what you're saying. Yes, you're protected.
I feel like that's nowadays you're least likely to die. Like it almost makes it so that you will probably live longer, I think.
Yeah, but okay, Jill, I bet you're right. No. Let's break this down because I think you're right, but I don't think it disproves my point. I bet on average, being president does extend your lifespan, but I bet also on average, it ups your percentage chance of getting murdered.
Getting murdered, probably
specifically. Like, and that's what I'm talking.
Murder, yes, probably.
I think you're right, Jail, that it would probably.
But you're not afraid of just dying. You're afraid specifically of murder.
Well, I'm afraid of both, but mostly murder really is scary. That's like a childhood fear that I've suppressed. Is that murder one?
I don't think it's very suppressed. I think it's sitting there.
No, I am not doing that job, Tommy. It's not for me. Not for me. Also, Joey said we'd have such good access to clean toilets under President Simon. No, you wouldn't. I'd mess up whatever toilet I wanted to if I was president.
You have like a rule where you always have to use it first.
Yeah, 100% of the time before you can use a toilet, Simon breaks them in. Simon breaks in all toilets. Guys, we are about to talk waiver wire. It is Tuesday, which means you got to get your waiver wires in, unless you got a weird league that ran them last night, in which case I'm so sorry if you found out about that this morning. But we've got some players that we're going to go through, and we're going to do things a little bit differently this week, how we do it. Instead of just talking through the players, we're going to run through a player that we think you should add and then go through some players that you might be able to drop. Find that line of who you would drop in order to pick this player up. Jay in here says you'd eat the poop. I would not eat the poop, Jay. Absolutely not. That is not who I am. Keep your nasty habits to yourself, Jay, and don't project them onto other people. JL, you want to get started with this list?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. First name I wanted to bring up was Deonta Foreman. So Deonta Foreman, if he's still sitting out there on about 50% of waiver wires. When I look at him, he seems like a must add, right? Like he's someone that should be on your roster.
Absolutely. He is a must add. You don't get a ton of running backs in this situation throughout the season where they have this type of opportunity laid before them. So yeah, he is a must add for me this week.
Now,
top add.
So whenever we're looking at players you'd be willing to drop for him, Jail, would you drop Cam Akers for Deonta Foreman?
Yeah, I would.
What about
I would after, yeah. So the trade deadline is today at 4 p.m. And so if Cam Akers does not get traded today, he's still on the Rams. After 4 p.m., I would go in and put a claim in for Deonta Foreman.
Oh, if he's on the Rams still, even with them making the move to Ronnie Rivers, you think like his value isn't good if he's still on the Rams?
Yes.
Okay. Cam Akers. I'm with you. I was just clarifying right there because I thought you were going to go the other way.
He's been on the Rams.
He has been on the Rams, but now Darrell Henderson doesn't seem like he's going to be the starting guy. Ronnie Rivers doesn't seem like he's going to be the starting guy. They tried it out. Doesn't look good. They said Cam Akers will be involved.
Differences
between
them, which to me is like, okay, that's going to be hard to overcome. That type of
what are the philosophical differences? You didn't play me when I wanted to play.
I think Cam Akers is a deontologist. That's a philosophy.
Yeah, and Sean McVay's a utilitarian.
Yeah.
I got you, JL. I got you. I didn't know we were going the philosophy route, but now that I'm on that page, the rest of the show is about deontology.
Yes, absolutely.
So JL, do you think Chase Edmonds is a deontologist?
I would take Deonta Foreman over Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds probably deontologist. Yeah.
Wan'Dale Robinson?
Yeah, I would.
I think that's where I draw my line.
That's where your line is?
No. Because if you need a running back, the position is so scarce right now. Like, I want Wan'Dale Robinson. I love his upside. I think his upside might actually be higher, but a starting running back is too valuable. Like, it's just way too valuable to give up for a rookie wide receiver that you're hoping breaks out.
So speaking of, what about Drake London? You dropping Drake London?
If that's the worst player on your team, congratulations on having a great team, probably. Yeah, I don't want to drop Drake London, but I will for Deonta Foreman if I need a running back. Like if I need a running back, I'll make that move. What about you, JL? They're not throwing the ball enough. They're throwing the ball like 10 times a game. Like, how is Drake London supposed to do anything, even if he is great?
Yeah. I think this is around where my line is. And I think this is where we get into like situation matters. In a vacuum, these guys are pretty similarly valued, I think, rest of the season, in my opinion. But running backs are very valuable, especially this year. I'd be fine with it. So I'm putting them up there.
That's wild. So it seems like pretty much all of these droppable players we're talking about, Deonta Foreman, you would drop them for Deonta Foreman. And a caveat for everyone listening, this is if they are your worst player. We're not saying drop Drake London. We're saying Drake London is droppable for Deonta Foreman.
Yes.
But if you're looking at a Garrett Wilson and a Drake London on your team, probably drop Garrett Wilson, not Drake London. Potentially.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
I don't know. The Falcons are throwing the ball 10 times a game. Garrett Wilson looking all right out there this weekend at the beginning of the season. But you get the point still stands. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Dale, next player, Khalil Herbert. He made his way back to a lot of waiver wires after David Montgomery came back. But now after making some noise this week, 99 rushing yards and a touchdown, he's back on the waiver wire radar. Where are you slotting in Khalil Herbert? Is this dude an ad?
He's an ad. They're gonna keep using David Montgomery. I still expect Khalil Herbert to be the 2 on this team, but he's an ad. He's an ad this week if he's out there. I'm taking him. He's probably the next priority ad after Deonta Foreman for me. I would put him above. I would take Khalil Herbert over Cam Akers. I think that's like the nice starting out point. Just the Cam Akers line. Would you take Cam Akers or Khalil Herbert, Simon? Would you drop Cam Akers for Khalil Herbert?
It's right around that line. I think you might have found my line. I'll take Khalil Herbert, but I'm not taking much. I'm not dropping much higher than that for him. Now, again, let's add the caveat. If David Montgomery is traded today, Khalil Herbert is suddenly at the number 1 top of this list for me. For right now, he's right around Cam Akers. I will drop Cam Akers for him. If David Montgomery gets traded, I'll drop every single person we've mentioned so far for him.
So about Chase Edmonds?
Well, Chase Edmonds is poop water. So I'll drop Chase Edmonds.
You're definitely dropping Chase Edmonds.
For Khalil Herbert.
Okay.
I mean, Chase Edmonds is the second back on his team, right? And he's worse. They're true. Worse for fantasy.
I'm with you. Chase Edmonds is total drop.
The only thing going for Edmonds is that Raheem Mostert has that injury history, right? Just the idea that he's more likely to get injured than some of these other running backs. But that's not enough for me to roster Edmonds.
That's fair. What about Gus Edwards? I think that's an interesting one. Gus Edwards or Khalil Herbert?
How long is Gus out? Do we know? We got that update this morning.
I don't know that we officially know that he's out. He's just dealing with a hamstring injury.
Okay. I'll keep Gus. I'll keep Gus Edwards. He looked great when he was healthy. I know he's a little bit banged up, but he should be the main guy when healthy there. Khalil Herbert's the supplementary guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. That is my line for sure. Would you rather have Gus Edwards or Cam Akers?
Gus Edwards.
Yeah, Gus Edwards for me too.
The Gus bus.
The Gus bus. Khalil Herbert. So it sounds like he's right around that territory. With you're putting him right around Cam Akers.
Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards. What about Isaiah Pacheco? Is he around there?
I think he is around there. Whenever I'm looking at that, both of these guys are in a crowded backfield or a backup in the backfield, but they're maybe showing promise to take over for the already established player. It's kind of similar, right? Except Isaiah Pacheco's a rookie. And I would say the back in front of him is even less established. So, and this offense is much better. I'll take Pacheco.
Take Pacheco.
The upside's there, right?
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next player then. Let's talk Justin Fields, quarterback for the Chicago Bears. He's been having a decent run. Hot. Justin Fields coming back hot. Simon, where are you? How are you prioritizing Justin Fields in the waiver this week?
I mean, it depends what you need, right? But overall, Justin Fields has been killing it the past couple weeks. Joe, you mentioned it. He's been on a tear. Through the first 4 weeks of this season, he didn't have a game above QB 23. I think that was his highest. Yeah, QB 23 in week 1, then QB 27, QB 31, QB 26. The last 4 weeks, check this out, JL, 13, 8, 5, 5. 13, 8, 5, 5. Those are Justin Fields quarterback finishes over the past 4 weeks. he's looking better. He's playing differently, and he's got that rushing upside that not all quarterbacks have. I'm prioritizing him fairly highly amongst quarterbacks on the waiver wire because this dude's just putting up quarterback one numbers pretty consistently now. Like that's 4 weeks in a row. I know 13 isn't quite QB1, but it's right on that line. Know what I mean? Like safe enough for me to say that's 4 weeks in a row with pretty much quarterback one numbers, top 12 QB numbers. Now, what players will I prioritize him over? This is tricky when we start comparing them to positional players, right?
Yeah, because you start talking QB versus skill position, and that gets into theory and all that.
Like
maybe a better way.
If this is Russell Wilson's your starting quarterback and you're looking for a replacement for the rest of season, he prioritizes quite a bit higher than me than if you've got Jimmy Garoppolo on bye this week and you're just looking for someone to fill in. Well, even then, I look at Fields as the replacement for Garoppolo, so maybe that was a bad example. Who else is on bye this week? Oh, aren't the Bears on bye as well?
No, it's Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, New York, Giants, Pittsburgh, and San Francisco.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so if you're looking for a bye week replacement, I'm not dropping anyone of merit, like any of the players that we've mentioned to try to get him. But if you need a rest of season starter, it makes it a little bit more interesting. I'd go a decent bit up this list, probably up to like the Taysom Hill area of players I'd be willing to drop to pick him up for rest of season.
Yeah, I think that's yeah. Well, would you rather have Justin Fields? You'd rather have Justin Fields over Taysom Hill.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Yeah, he's a good streaming option. Someone you need to pick up if you are struggling at the QB position. If you're in 1 QB leagues, I don't know that Justin Fields even hits that point for you, but maybe.
Philly Mac had a question for us that if you have Herbert in one league and Mahomes in another, would you add Fields or Watson? I normally don't carry 2 QB and my starters had their bye week already. With Mahomes, I'm probably not. Seems like a waste of a bench spot to throw another quarterback on there. Shoot for some upside with some of these wide receivers or running backs. With Herbert's been injured, been beat up, and has not looked as good. I might throw Deshaun Watson onto my bench and see what you got there if Deshaun Watson's on the waiver wire. I don't
we
think
still
he's
got a
gonna
few weeks. I think do you probably have to start thinking about that, but I agree with you. As soon as Deshaun Watson hits the field, he's going to be fantasy relevant. He's going to be a top fantasy quarterback. So yeah, I would have rather have him over Justin Fields, but I think he can wait. His suspension, was it week 12 that we get him back? Week 13? Week 13, I think.
It's
Against
through
Texans.
11 weeks that he's out. They've got their bye this week, so week 12, I believe.
Week 12, okay.
Against the Texans. Yep, Philly Mac coming in saying versus Houston. Man, the NFL is just ludicrous, isn't it? Like to do that, to schedule that so purposefully. Like that's on purpose. That's not coincidence, right?
We have 3 because it's Thanksgiving. I was like, we have 3 Thursday games this week.
Wait, it's Thanksgiving this week?
No. Week 12 is Thanksgiving.
Gotcha. Sorry, you said we have 3 Thursday games this week because it's Thanksgiving, and I just had a full-on panic that it was Thanksgiving this week, and I completely missed that
it was
part
just
of the
Halloween
month.
yesterday.
I know, JL. That's why I was so confused. It's 8 a.m. Give me a break.
Wait, it's not week 12. It's week 13.
Huh.
Week 13 is when they play Houston.
How does that math work? Oh, they miss 11 weeks. The 12th week is the bye, and then week 13, even though they have the bye this week. I'm just saying math checks out.
Yeah.
I did the math wrong. We had another question in here, JL, from Luca Magic. What's up, Luca Magic? That's what Magic says. Start 1, flex half PPR. Brandon Cooks, Allen Robinson, Rashad Bateman, or Rashad White. JL, who's getting plugged in? Well,
let's see.
This is tough, Luca, because there's trade rumors about Brandon Cooks. He could get traded. That's going to change it entirely. Bateman's out. Then Allen Robinson is on a team that's been connected to lots of trade rumors, especially for wide receivers. So that could change as well. If everything stays the same, give me Brandon Cooks. What about you, JL?
Who does Houston play this week? I'm trying to see, where are they on? Oh, they play Philadelphia. Yeah, I'm going to take Allen Robinson. I don't think Davis Mills is going to be able to transcend the Philadelphia secondary. Hit Brandon Cooks.
That was so fun. They play Philadelphia. Yeah, I'm gonna take Allen Robinson. We're going the other way here. I don't mind that. And if Cooks gets traded, then I'm probably going Allen Robinson as well. Not taking a guy on a new team right away, first game in there, unless his name is Christian McCaffrey or someone of
his name is Christian McCaffrey.
Or someone of equal or greater value. Dale, we got some more players to talk about, and this one's near and dear to my heart. Mr. Greg Dulcich, tight end for the Denver Broncos, has been a stud since he showed up, since he came back from injury. How are you prioritizing adding Greg Dulcich? This is another one of those onesie positions, but he's been on fire since he's come back in.
Rarely do we have situations where you can get a decent tight end option off the waiver wire. That's not a common occurrence, especially not a guy who's just scoring so well recently and so consistently. To have him still be on the waiver, he's a top 5 ad for me this week off the waiver wire. If you need tight end, prioritizing him even more. Probably give up like anywhere from 5 to 15% of my free agent acquisition budget on Greg Dulcich.
If you were the Taysom Hill manager and Taysom Hill was your weekly tight end starter, would you drop Taysom Hill and then plug Greg Dulcich in as your rest of the season starter?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
that's how I like to play fantasy. I know some people would rather have the upside of Taysom Hill. Give me the consistency of the tight end position, and I'll get the upside elsewhere.
I like upside if I can't get consistency from the tight end position. And Greg Dulcich has consistency, and there's some upside for him as well. Know what I mean? It's not like he's not getting the volume. Dude has to just find the end zone.
Yeah.
Dale, we talked about Gus Edwards a little bit earlier, but we should probably talk about his backup, Kenyon Drake. So Gus Edwards dealing with a hamstring injury. We saw Kenyon Drake get some more work. How are you prioritizing Kenyon Drake on the waiver wire? Is he even someone that's on your priority list?
He is. He is. He is a asset that is useful for the next couple weeks with Gus Edwards there. And by the way, I did look it up while you were talking about something else. Gus, according to Ian Rappaport, as we like to call him, if Gus Edwards does miss time, it's not going to be more than a week. It is a minor hamstring injury. Sorry. Kenyon Drake is valuable, but I'm not spending a ton on him. Not off the waiver.
He's a bye week fill-in level for me. Like it's bye-pocalypse this week. We got 6 teams on bye. You probably need someone, and Kenyon Drake is startable. Like he is startable for fantasy. If Gus Edwards is out, we elevate it up a little bit to you can start him upgraded from startable. But for the time being, he's just a startable guy that you can pick up, plug in, and then drop back to waivers. No issues.
Yeah.
That's the worst feeling, isn't it? When you just have to use a roster spot on a player for a week. You're like, I know this is going to be nothing. I know you're going to get me 4.5 points, but I just have to do it. I just have to plug someone into this hole so that I don't get a 0.
Yeah.
Is that funny?
Nice.
Yeah. Plug it into the hole. I said hole on accident, though. One more player I wanted to talk about, JL. He's been getting more targets. It hurts my feelings a little bit because this is another player I fully gave up on. But this Panthers team looks a little bit different with Matt Rule gone, and Terrace Marshall has been pretty involved the past couple weeks, the past 2 weeks specifically. Is he on your radar as someone you should be adding?
He's like a dart throw. He's someone I would throw in just to see what happens. I don't think the Panthers are going to be able to do this forever. PJ Walker, they're going to figure out how to shut him down. Defenses are going to figure out how to scheme against PJ Walker, the Peach. Terrace Marshall, though, sort of interesting in deeper leagues. I'd say worth throwing on your bench if you absolutely need some wide receiver help.
He's another plug and play for me. He's another bye week fill in and then drop him right back to the waiver wire. Maybe you get 12 points from him and then you're thrilled, but maybe you get 0.5 or nothing from him as well. I have no trust for Terrace Marshall. Guys, coming up, Jayla and I are going to be giving you some of our unpopular opinions, some of our most unpopular takes, football, maybe some non-football as well. But if you guys have some hot takes, some unpopular opinions, make sure you get those ready. We want you to call in or throw them in the chat. Share along with us. Get those unpopular opinions out there. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
Surely. Kickers never retire, I think. They just continue playing for all eternity. Like, there's only ever been 30 NFL kickers.
They're always readily available too, it seems. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just get called up. They're like, you kicked for us 10 years ago, right? Why don't you
run it back? Let's
I imagine
Graham
every
Gano.
single kicker that gets the call is on a high school football field somewhere just practicing field goals after hours. Like it's like 9 p.m. and they're out there just the local high school kicking field goals, and the phone rings. They get the call and they're like, yeah, I'm ready. I've been practicing today.
I have an amazing kicker story if you guys have a second.
I got a couple.
The number one all-time field goal kicker is Adam Vinatieri. The next two guys are Morton and Gary Anderson, right? Gary Anderson was a dude from like South Africa that just played rugby and soccer. He just could absolutely boot the ball, right? They bring him over and he does like a tryout and he's just absolutely crushing the ball. And all these colleges are like, dude, we want you to come kick field goals for us. And he goes, I don't even want to play football. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, so if I can come to your school and play soccer, I'll also, in the fall, I'll kick for the football team. And Syracuse was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, you're on the soccer team. Like, come on. And he went to Syracuse to play soccer, but also kick field goals. And then he ended up being a top 3 point scorer in the NFL all the time.
That's ridiculous.
And his answer to recruiters was, I don't want to play football. I'll do it in my spare time.
Yeah. He's like, you got a spot for me in the soccer team. Syracuse is like, yeah, we got a spot for you.
We don't even care about our soccer team.
We don't even care.
We totally have that spot.
Right? They had to like cobble together a soccer team. Like, yeah, this guy's the captain.
Oh my God. It's like Accepted, the movie, but they just like had to throw together a whole fake soccer team.
Somehow they still got Justin Long.
Right, yeah. Like, Adam Sandler's the coach. And dude, it's imagine they win the national championship. That's a movie, dog. Yeah.
Boom!
Someone call up Disney. Yeah, we just wrote a movie for you, Disney. This has Disney sports movie written all over. I'm borderline crying right here just thinking about this movie right now.
Dude, the story gets even crazier. Like, I should have looked it up again, but like it was like a high school coach that went and found him, and then that high school coach ended up being somebody crazy famous that like coached for the Rams.
Stay tuned for sports. Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It is November 1st. Welcome to the month of November. Joe, you know what I realized yesterday, and it is just ruining my day?
What?
Daylight savings time happens this weekend.
No, I hate that.
And I always forget. So it is fall, right? So we are falling back, which does that mean I lose an hour or I gain an hour?
It's going to get darker.
Yeah, I'm worried about the morning. That's all I'm worried
lighter.
about. No, I'm not worried about the light. Just what time? Like 7 a.m. now is what time on Sunday, JL?
I don't know. 7 a.m. now is what time on Sunday? What does that even mean?
like the way 7 a.m. feels right now. What time is it going to be when it feels that way on Sunday?
It's going to feel like 6 a.m.
No, it's going to be 6 a.m., but it's going to feel like 7 a.m.
God.
Okay, you know what? I'm a little more excited now. We get an extra hour. Is this the time of year? It was always the best at the bars in college whenever we would get that extra hour.
Yeah.
Because it would hit 2 a.m. and instead of going to 2 a.m., it would just drop back an hour, right? And then all of a sudden we would get one more hour at the bars. It was always a mess.
It was.
But daylight saving time is my mortal enemy. It confuses me every time. I will be out of sync for weeks after this changes, and I think they should get rid of it everywhere.
Well,
it's stupid and there's no point.
If Simon seems different after this, you know why.
I mean, you know what? I'm going to get us started with these unpopular opinions. You ready for this? I'm going to do it right now.
We're getting right into it.
Number one, and we're not starting with a football one. We're starting with a time one. I didn't have this one written down, but this is my hot take. There should be no time zones. It should be the same time everywhere, and it just means different things, different
That's
places.
my idea. Stop stealing
We've
my
talked
ideas.
about this, JL. That is not your idea. I have said this before as well.
Get out of here.
And then I told you they do it like in China, they do that. It's the same time throughout the entire country, Beijing time, same time everywhere. We do it with the months. Know what I mean? Like it's winter in Australia in August because they're in the Southern Hemisphere. We don't suddenly call that January, like just because it's different. Like why don't we follow the same logic for time? Why don't we set the same clock everywhere? You're with me on this one, Joe?
Yeah, I'm with you. The take that I just said was mine that you stole. I'm 100% with you, Simon.
But that's your take.
Standing in solidarity.
Standing in solidarity. Gail, I've been on this time thing for years.
Same, bro. Me,
Man,
I've been living in this time zones for 28 years.
28 years.
Or 3 months longer than you.
How many time zones have you lived in?
6.
6? Really?
100.
You've lived in 600 time zones. That's incredible.
Yeah, what can I say?
That's unbelievable. Also, people in the chat agreeing with us as well. Craig said, I forget what Craig said. Just kidding. Craig said, I've said that for years, Simon. And Scott said, and remove AM, PM, 24-hour clock, same time everywhere. I'm in. And then Craig said, if Simon, Scott, JL, and I can all agree on something, it should become law. I'm not sure that happens very often where we get all 4 of us in agreement.
Yeah.
I think the closest we've ever come is Reese's Cups. But then Scott just can't eat them.
Scott ruins it.
Handle them. He ruins it. But we found one. 24-hour clock. It's the same time everywhere in the world. Make it happen.
Yeah.
That would be my first act as president right before getting murdered.
Right before getting murdered.
By Bill Knife, the murder guy. Bill
Call back.
Knife, the murder guy.
Bill Knife, the murder guy.
Stab. Dustin said to Scott Fish, I thought I was on the wrong site this morning after Scott came in and said he upgraded the SFB site for the first time in the better part of a decade. So the SFB site has been updated, and Dustin saying he thought he was on the wrong site this morning. Looks amazing. Got thrown out over there.
Wow.
Thrown off.
Thrown out, thrown off. I got to go check it out. I'm excited to see it.
Me too.
And then Scott Fish said, then people can have winter hours and summer hours if they want to close up work early or late during those months. Yeah, I like that. That's how it should be.
It makes so much sense. When I look at when a plane lands and it says I take off at 9 a.m. and land at 10 a.m. and it's a 6-hour flight, I'm like, this is stupid. Why would you communicate to me in both in different time zones whenever I'm living in this one right now? Like, I have no idea what this means. If it was one time zone, it would just make sense.
I'm with you, Simon. I'm with you.
I could rant about this for an hour.
My
going.
My hot take, my unpopular opinion, I guess it's not a hot take, it's just an unpopular opinion here, is that Aaron Rodgers is more washed than Tom Brady.
Ooh, you think Aaron Rodgers is truly washed, that this isn't just having like a bad season?
I think Aaron Rodgers is in the maybe like top quartile of talent when it comes to quarterback position. But I think he's been largely buoyed by Devontae Adams and the offense that he's been in. I don't know that Aaron Rodgers can transcend a poor offensive system that he's in, or without talent around him. I don't think that he is as good as Tom Brady is talent-wise. I think Tom Brady right now is dealing with a lot of mental issues. Like he's just got a lot on his mind. I think he's not in his element. I think the team is not in a great spot. Todd Bowles is not getting it done. We've seen him not work in the past as a head coach. I think Tom Brady is, from a talent perspective, I'm more confident that he can come back than Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is more washed.
Yeah. I mean, in jail, speaking of things Tom Brady has on his mind, he's got the defensive lineman for the other team on his mind about 80% of the game. That offensive line is terrible. They are just physically on his brain, tackling him to the ground every single play. Like it's rough. I don't know if I agree with you. Because Tom Brady's also still chucking the ball to Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, Rashad Perriman. He's got Leonard Fournette over there. And he looks decent enough, but it's been rough this season for Tom Brady. And Aaron Rodgers has the age on him, right? He's a little bit younger. I think Aaron Rodgers pulls it together. I'm not sure for Tom Brady. Like, I'm not sure we're going to see him pull it together this year.
Hal said, JL, Tom Brady has wide receivers. He also has he doesn't have an offensive line though.
That is true.
They're both not in the perfect situations. They both have situational disadvantages, but I think talent wise alone, you throw them in a Hoover, in a vacuum, Tom Brady wins out every time.
And Scott agrees with you, JL. Scott Fish. He said, I actually agree, JL. I've seen enough film guys talk about how Brady will miss, but he still has great velocity and makes some great throws. I think JL is right. Something up with Tom, but I don't think it's talent.
Yeah. Scott.
Wait, no, he just cheered on you. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not sure I agree with you, though, so I shouldn't be cheering the same thing. Philly Max said Rodgers needs to be traded to the Patriots. Oh, God.
No.
Please don't.
He and Bill Belichick would not get along.
We do it.
Just absolutely
do it.
Not. Do it.
I'm with
do it.
Now I
want
want
to see it now.
I want to see the Belichick Rodgers era. I think it would last 3 hours before he was cut from the team. Like, Belichick would say, I don't care that we traded all of our future picks. You're out of here. I'm done with you, Aaron Rodgers.
Get the heck
freaking
out of here.
Cuts him. And Philly Max said, yes, good TV. He's just waiting for the good TV. Scott wants to know, how many trades do we see today, JL? So before we move on to the next hot take, give a prediction on how many trades we see by the end of today.
I think we see 4.5.
4.5?
Mm-hmm.
What's the half trade? Is it Darren Sproles getting traded or something? Or Kyler Murray's going to get traded? So that's the half?
Yeah.
We see 4 full players and 1 little guy get traded.
One
Today's
tiny
JL's
guy.
prediction. I'm going to go with 6. I'm going to say it's a big trade day. We see a lot of them right here at the deadline.
A lot of trades.
6 trades at the buzzer. Maybe that's just optimistic. I just want some chaos. JL, you ready for my next hot take?
Yep.
I think you're going to agree with this one. And I didn't think this was hot until I read all of Twitter and Reddit yesterday. But people are giving up on Trevor Lawrence. And I think Trevor Lawrence will still be the best quarterback out of the 2021 class. Better than Justin Fields, better than Trey Lance, better than Mac Jones, better than Davis Mills. I think Trevor Lawrence is the franchise guy, and he's going to outplay every single one of these guys in his career.
I agree with you, Simon. We may be unpopular there, and of course we will bring in the chorus of Clemson bias from people, but that's fine. Let time tell, because like the dude's got talent. The dude's got skills. Anyone who says otherwise, I think is just biting into the recency bias. We've seen Trevor Lawrence do it at the highest level. At the highest level, that you can't say that about most quarterbacks in this league, regardless of what you believe about them. You know, he's not perfect. And I think part of this is a branding thing, right? Like, he was framed as this plug and play generational talent, and people forget that he's human still, right? Like, he's still a human. He's still a young kid getting into a new league at the highest level. And, you know, what he's had to deal with is absurd. So I'm very confident in that take. It's probably one of my most confident opinions on these players out of the league.
Yeah, and the things that I like is, like, the mistakes that I'm seeing seem fixable, right? Like, he's making some stupid throws. He's got to get his decision-making a little bit better. But we're also seeing flashes. We're seeing the kinds of throws that only 4 or 5 quarterbacks in this league can even make that Trevor Lawrence is making out there. Like, he has the raw physical ability that quarterbacks just don't have in this league. Like, he's a unique prospect. I'm buying in. I think this guy's going to pull it together and have a phenomenal career. JL, I almost went full hot with this one. Let me know what you think about this. I was going to say he's going to have the best career out of any quarterback from the 2020 or 2021 class. That would include Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and Justin Herbert as well in that list. It was a little too spicy for me. I reined it back a little bit because of Joey B, honestly. Joey B and Tua were difficult, but I really think in a couple years we'll be talking about him with those guys.
Tua's easy for me. Tua's just newly in this conversation, so he doesn't necessarily need to be.
Not for me.
Not for me either. Thank you. But he's still, I think, newer to the conversation in the sense that, like, I don't put him in that same category. I always was confident Tua was much better than people were saying, but top 5, like, I wouldn't put him necessarily in the same category as Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. I still think he's a step below. But otherwise, I agree with you. Apart from Joey Burrow, it's hard to pick other quarterbacks that I would put above Trevor Lawrence long term, career like lifetime value.
I'm with you. Craig said better than Ian Book. Psh. Yeah, maybe that's the one guy I forgot, Craig.
Ian Book.
Book will outplay Trevor Lawrence. And then Scott said that would have taken forever, Simon, reading all of Twitter and Reddit. Dang, that's like when Kevin Costner said he's read every message board in draft day. It's funny you bring that up. I model my life after Kevin Costner in draft day, and that's why I read all of Twitter and Reddit last night. I'm truly exhausted, but I did it for this take. I saw the messages coming in, and I spent all night speed reading. I can read different things with each eye. So I had my computer over here and my phone over here, and I'm just reading right eye, left eye. It looks really creepy when it's happening because they're moving different directions as they're tracking.
I bet. It's pretty impressive that you can do that, though.
I can't. Have you ever seen the people that can, though, Jail? Like, have you ever seen like the videos on the people that can, like, when they read a book, they can read both pages at the same time and then like piece it together and then flip the page, read both pages at the same time?
No, that's crazy.
Dustin says, I love Kevin Costner. I can't think of a bad movie he's in. I can only think of one movie he's in, even though I know he's in plenty of other movies. I'm just really bad with remembering what actors are and what.
Is Dances with Wolves a good movie?
Never seen it.
I'd be very surprised if you did. That would be wild.
What about Dances with Elves?
I have not seen that one. Is that Will Ferrell?
Never heard of it.
Me neither.
Yeah, I was hoping you had because it sounded pretty good. It sounded like a pretty good movie.
Let's get into my next unpopular opinion. I'm going to go to a different sport on this one, Simon.
Okay.
Basketball needs new mechanics.
I need you to explain because I don't know what you mean, and I'm immediately getting defensive.
What bothers me about basketball is every game, like the end game for basketball is the same, right? It's always the same strategy. Let's pass the ball in, and then let's go foul the other team if you're down, right? Try and stop the clock, and then go free throw, and then go back and forth. There is no variance really from that strategy. Almost every team does it in every close game or as the clock runs out. And it's from just like a game mechanics perspective, it's boring. It
ruins the end of the game.
Watch. It's supposed to be this like high energy, like big, you want like essentially what we got from the end of the Bills Chiefs game last year, right? Where it's just like boom, 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 boom. But what you end up getting is just this like wimpy, penalty-ridden, disjointed game, and it's not super enjoyable. There's not a ton of like strategy there, and even just from a broader perspective, basketball, like it just feels like a lot of pass until you get a slight edge to go in. And I just feel like it's such a good game. You could come up with some really fun mechanics for it if you rethought it.
I am so with you on that last part. I get so frustrated. You'll watch this incredible game. Like you'll watch this unbelievable game. It's close. And then the last 2 minutes take 28 minutes because they're fouling every single time the ball is inbounded and just hoping that the other team misses the free throws. It gets really bad in college basketball as well with that. Like it is just brutal to watch. And it takes the enjoyment out of the end of an exciting game. Like you want that buzzer beater moment. You want that Hail Mary. You know what I mean? Like you want them to play until the final buzzer and you're not getting that. Yeah. Do you remember the episode of Fairly Odd Parents where Timmy Turner wishes he could be like a professional basketball player?
No, I'm pretty sure I saw every episode of that show though.
And if you remember correctly, the fairies in that show had a rule that you could not take a wish that would grant you a competitive advantage. Like, so there is a rule, like you can't cheat using your fairies to gain a competitive advantage. So all of a sudden, Timmy Turner's out there on the court playing like a madman. He's 8 feet tall. They're going up by like 100 points. The timer hits 2 minutes left in the game. He shrinks back down to a normal person and can't play anymore because they were making the joke that the only competitive part of a basketball game is the last 2 minutes.
It's the last 2 minutes.
The last 2 minutes. Like it doesn't matter. You probably both teams are going to score around 100 points up until that point. And then the last 2 minutes are the competitive part.
Yeah, basketball could be way better. That's my hot take.
Also, Hal said those 28 minutes is the advertising time that pays for those contracts. Yeah.
Well, that's where you get into it, right? There's like other motivations for these sports and stuff. I'm speaking strictly from a just mechanics perspective, game mechanics perspective. But yeah, it's a good point.
There's one time I have seen that strategy create an insane comeback, like where they were just trying to do that. And it was, I can't even remember what year it was, but it was Texas A&M against, I want to say, Northern Illinois in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And they were down by something ridiculous, like 14 with less than 40 seconds left. And they ended up dropping 17 points to send it to overtime because the other team got 3 points as well. And it was one of the most absurd. 2016 over University of Northern Illinois. That's what it was. Absolutely absurd. Down 12 with 44.3 seconds left is how that game went. So sometimes it can be fun, but I'm with you, Jail. Overall, it's pretty bad. Jay has a solution for you in here, asking if we've heard of the Elam ending. Under the Elam ending format, the game clock is shut off in the fourth quarter, and the team must hit a target score in order to win. The target score is set by adding 8 points to the leading team's total. For example, if the score is 100 to 90, the target score would be 108.
Interesting.
I want more than 8 points, but I like that.
I want to see it. I want to watch it. I want to see what it feels like to watch it.
Well, then it feels
That's
like
cool.
a race.
That's interesting.
That's
but that's
fun.
kind of fun. That's like interesting. You're like racing to get these points. That's hella fun. It's a way better end game mechanic. That's awesome.
Joe, you ready for my next hot take?
Yeah.
It's a recent one for me. And I think this is where you're going to differ from me, Joe. I'm not positive, but I think this is where I'm going to upset you. Curly fries are significantly worse than just normal French fries. Like if you go to Arby's and get curly fries, they are worse than just the normal fries at Carly's. They're soggier.
Dumbass.
The taste is weird. Like normal French fries, just with some salt on them, are significantly better than curly fries. Like you're just wasting space in that tube as well. Like, so you get fewer French fries. You get worse French fries because they're not as crispy. They're soggy.
Cares about volume and space when you're talking about French fries. I don't ever think of, wow, my French fries taking up too much space. What am I gonna do?
Jail, you wouldn't feel ripped off if you got way fewer French fries. Like if we both paid $4 for a thing of French fries, I get a pound of fries, you get a half pound of fries.
Surface area, I bet you curly fries just absolutely blow regular fries out of the water.
I bet you're
curling
stupid and
down.
wrong.
Because you're curling down. They're so much denser.
Yeah,
I've never once gotten a bag of curly fries
in there. There is.
But think about how much wasted space is in a freaking single French fry. All the extra space
if
around
you were
it.
to build because you can just shove them in there. They just line up like each other. Perfectly
Nobody
bricked,
shoves
like a
them in there.
tower.
Not a single place will shove it in there to make up for curly fries.
Yeah,
Curly
you're going to the
fries are
wrong Arby's. They hook you up.
The single best food ever created in this world. You're wrong, Simon. I'm sorry.
They're fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm never one to turn away a fried potato. Like you put a fried potato in front of me, I'm gonna eat it.
You're looking just for salt, in which case, yeah, like the vehicle to which you transport that salt into your mouth is probably negligent. The spice and the seasoning around curly fries blows regular fries out of the water.
Now, you're just, first of all, spice and seasoning can go on other fries. You are aware of that, right? Like I can throw some Lowry seasoning salt on some straight fries, call it a day.
Checkers. There's some restaurants that have like curly fry seasoning in straight fry form, which are pretty good. They're definitely better than regular fries, but they don't have the shape. And the shape definitely gives it the nice tiebreaker above.
The shape ruins it. Like Popeye's seasoned fries, Popeye's Cajun fries are way better.
Yeah, Popeye's is perfect
than Arby's curly fries.
Disagree.
Okay,
but they're close. They're essentially even because I don't care that much about the shape, but the shape does give it a little bit for me.
I'm gonna get a container of the same volume, okay, and I'm going to fill it with fries from Popeyes, and I'm going to fill it with fries from Arby's, curly fries, and we're gonna see which one weighs more. Because I get your argument, I understand what you're saying, but I really think it's gonna be way more French fries, like a significant margin more French fries in the straight fry container, same volume.
If you shove them in there, yes, but we gotta.
I'm just gonna order the same size container.
We'll order 100 fries of each, and then we'll see, and then we'll measure and we'll see what.
No, because that goes against my argument, Jail. I think they're gonna put less fries in the same size container of curly fries. There will be more.
You can't just do one at a time because you don't know. Like it could be based off that person's, how heavy they are with the wrists. Putting the fries in, they might be a little.
So. Have you ever heard of science, J.O.? We can do it 20 times.
That's what I just said. And you said no.
You said get 100 French fries of each.
I didn't. I said 100 orders of each, and then compare.
Check the tape. That's not what you said. Check the
100
tape,
orders of each.
I'm calling in for a review.
You've already lost because Jay agrees with you. That dingus he said curly fries are garbage. So you already know you're in the bad taste group there.
Jay, just don't come in here and agree with me about this stuff. Like you're ruining my point.
Immediately just contradicts you by agreeing with you. Winter Girl in the chat says you're wrong. I love them. And first thing I think of when I see Arby's, fully agree. Winner girl, 1000%.
The first thing I think of when I see Arby's is their disgusting roast beef sandwiches. That
is pretty bad.
Fast food roast beef, but it is my mom's favorite fast food restaurant. She loves Arby's. Also, she said waffle fries with curly fry seasoning, the bomb. I love a waffle fry. I do love a waffle fry, but not a curly fry. Jail, they're flat. You can pack them like this. It's the curl. It's 3-dimensional.
Okay. I don't know how to argue with you about the shape of the curly fry. I'm going to go on to my next unpopular opinion, since that one was truly, truly so awful.
1 second. I just want to make sure you know, I also don't know how to argue with you. So you thinking I'm stupid, I also think you're equally as stupid for not realizing the volume wouldn't be the same.
That's fair.
So we're both arguing. It's not
fair.
one way.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not one way. The difference is I just don't care.
Yeah, me neither. I don't even care at all.
Yeah.
Never cared about
I
anything.
meant I don't care about what you think about me, but then it just came out as I just don't care.
Okay, Joe, what you got next?
All right, my next one. Concerts mostly aren't worth it. Concerts are pretty dumb. They're not that enjoyable. You spend a ton of money.
Just went both middle fingers in the air just out of reaction to that one. Keep going.
You spend all this money. You spend all this, and when I say mostly, the mostly is an important part here, because I understand, like I've had extremely profound concert experiences where it is, you just could never get that anywhere else. So I'm not ruling out all concert experiences. I'm saying if you go to like 20 concerts in a year, they're mostly going to suck, because you're sitting there and you spend a ton of money to go watch these, and you're in an uncomfortable position, usually in a back or in a giant crowd of people. It almost never sounds quite like the experience is never quite that much better than listening to normal music. And I understand the difference is the ambiance and going there. I just don't find that ambiance incredible. It's not like you're going there to socialize with other people there. You kind of just have to be there with them. If your artist is really bigger than like a low name artist, you're going dome where you can barely see them, and it's not worth it. Then you're stuck in traffic for like 2 hours afterwards. It's not worth it most of the time.
So, Jail, I think the problem is you're going to the wrong concerts. Like
easy response. Sure.
Well, let me finish. God, I let you have that whole spiel. I say one thing and immediately telling me I'm stupid. Let me get my words
out. You're not
stupid.
You're smart.
Arena shows are a nightmare. Arena shows are almost never worth it. I've been to one arena concert where I thought that was very much so worth it, and it was Taylor Swift, because she gets the crowd involved. It's interactive. Her stages move like she makes it this interactive experience. But most of the time I go to an arena show, I'm just like, I should have just stayed at home and watched a YouTube video of this instead, because I can't see anything. I can't hear anything. I spent $40 on a beer and some nachos. I spent $80 on this t-shirt that I'm going to wear 6 times before I shrink it in the washing machine. I'm going to sit in traffic for 3 hours. I'm going to be tempted to leave early and miss the encore so that I can beat the traffic. But that's why I don't go to arena shows. I love what you do. Find a couple small concert venues near your house, JL. Like find 4 or 5 of them. Once a week, once a month, go on there and check the upcoming shows. Most of these tickets are going to be $20 or less. Most of the concerts are going to have less than 1,000 people at them, oftentimes a couple hundred. You can find some great bands that are coming through playing that way. Go check these concerts out. There's no traffic. There's no issue with pricing. It's not too crowded, not too busy. You can see and hear everything because it's a small venue that you like. And then concerts are always worth it. Almost Simon, always.
You come out with the curly fry take, and you make me think one thing about you, and then you come out with this take, which is you're agreeing with me. I agree with all of those points, and which is why I say they're mostly not worth it, in that there are absolutely concerts that are worth it. Those smaller experiences, if you have artists that you like that do those, it's amazing. But I think those are much less frequent than the arena shows, the other types of shows.
Also, Dustin, be careful. You are getting very close to back in my day territory with that comment, saying if you're going to go see a current band, they suck. They're just bad versions of listening to their album. Go see great bands like AC/DC and Leonard Skinner. They know how to perform live.
I've seen Leonard Skinner live.
I get what you're saying,
multiple
Dustin.
times.
But and then he came in Eagles, Garth Brooks, Billy Joel, Keith Urban, James Taylor, all great concerts I've been to. I have been to a Garth Brooks concert, and I'm going to say the first 2.5 hours were good. The next 3 hours were not good. The next 3 hours was just, and maybe it's because I'm not a Garth Brooks fan, but I would not do that again. It was just a little bit too long to be there with someone who doesn't love his music. But I've seen some great current bands. Yeah, we just got some news that came in here saying teams have reached out to the Colts to inquire about trading for their running back, Nyheim Hines. So we could see Nyheim Hines end up on a new team. Could that potentially affect your opinion of him? That came from Adam Schefter. Like, does that make him more fantasy relevant if a team trades for him?
It depends. Well, yes, it does. And it depends where he goes and how much they give up. But it absolutely affects it.
Absolutely affects it. Yeah, I mean, if a team trades for someone, I'm a little bit more likely, especially a running back. I think you've talked about this on the show before, JL, where running back is easier to get plugged in, right? So if someone trades for a running back, it's often a team that thinks they're going to win this year because that's a win now move, and they probably want to use them. They're often not trading up stuff for depth at the running back position.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a good point.
Absolutely. JL, we got time for one more take. I'm going to throw it in there, and I think you agree with me on this one. Thanksgiving food sucks. It just sucks. It's just bland. You look at the plate, and it's like all tan. Like even the green bean casserole, they made it tan. Everything is beige except for the cranberry sauce sitting on there. And like, sure, I like mashed potatoes, but turkey is fine. It's not even the best poultry. It's just not good. It's just not like, I like Thanksgiving food individually, but overall, like that's not a meal I'm going to put together. You know what I mean? Mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, and turkey. Like it's just not good.
Winter girl hit you with your response, Simon. You're eating with the wrong family, bro.
You know what? You're probably right, Winter girl. You're probably right. Though I will say, shout out to my papa, my grandma. Dude was a killer cook. Sometimes he would throw together the lack of ram for Thanksgiving, and that changed Thanksgiving dinner entirely. I'm not saying the food's bad. I'm saying for a holiday where we all come together, you're like, let's get some exciting food out there. Like, let's have like pear and apple pork chops instead of just like turkey. Like let's get something fun on the table. Better Boston, you said get some herring in there.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, as a vegetarian, I don't eat a lot of the Thanksgiving meal. But mashed potatoes and stuffing is fantastic. Mashed potatoes, top tier food. Stuffing is pretty good most of the time. My granddad used to make the best stuffing. It's like a family tradition. We used to, make it this family recipe every year before he passed. Is so good, so good. So I don't really agree with your take, Simon, but I understand it.
Well, I'm going to Winter Girl's house for Thanksgiving this year. Apparently, that's what we're doing. Actually, Jail, you know what we're doing for Thanksgiving this year?
What?
We're going out to eat, just me and Leanne. We're going to a nice restaurant. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. We will be back tomorrow from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time with some more football talk. Until then, make sure you guys head on over to the Better Network Twitter account and retweet that for your chance to win a Garrett Wilson full-size autographed helmet. Until tomorrow, though, we're out of here. Go enjoy your Thanksgiving food, and curly fries are the worst. Adios, everyone.
Bye-bye.